He's got the mind to build a land. Every creature, spell, and grain of sand to Arabelle where life was grand. He brought the stone, now take a stand. Maps and dice, he lays it down. Are we enough to save the crown? A twist of fate, a roll of chance. In Feanor's domain do stories dance. Come join this world where magic flies through caverns dark and open skies. His crafted dreams for us to roam, an epic quest to save our home. He speaks with voices old and wise. Goblins roam and heroes rise. With every turn a new surprise, brought to us to fantasize. From dusty tomes and ancient lore to battles fierce and treasures more, you've got a place, an open door. Adventure calls you can't ignore. Join Feanor's world where magic flies through caverns dark and open skies. His crafted dreams for us to roam, an epic quest to save our home. Home.
Well, welcome and welcome back, Mythlanders. This is going to be session 33 of Goblinstone, and our party has finally been split. At the moment, or when last we left off, most of our heroes were together. They had grabbed a wagon from the docks and piled it high with supplies and food and raw materials to hopefully make weapons or other things that they might need. But Clifford was off on his own. He had evaded multiple goblins and hobgoblins and bugbears, leaving X behind and slipping off with the Staff of Ogma, just trying to keep it out of the goblins' hands. Fortunately, Helena's little rattling friends were able to administer a good cheese to X, bringing him back up, and the party came back together. There were a few, all of the defenders on the ships were dead, had either sacrificed themselves in the fight or went out in the blast that it seems that their ship captain had planned to take out some of the hobgoblins. But just before that blast, a good number of townsfolk had jumped out into the waters and have since been pulled up on the docks and are now sort of tightly surrounding this wagon that our heroes they're going to attempt to escort back to the market square. Dawn has struck the city, and many of the goblins have left the streets, though there are some still after Clifford, perhaps being driven by bosses or people above them. Well, our heroes don't quite know how the goblins communicate with each other, at least how they might get orders from the masters and those sort of more powerful people that are actually responsible for the goblin invasion. So, as they begin making their way over the war-torn town, they don't know where Clifford is. They are assuming the best, hoping for the best, that they'll meet him someplace soon, hopefully in the square. And Clifford also doesn't exactly know where the party is, but he's likely assuming that they're safe and are going to make their way back to the square. So before we jump back into it, what did I leave out, gang? Anything important you all want to mention from last session? X, how about you?
I got a whole wagon full of loot. We also have some crazy noble lady who thinks she's somebody important, and we kind of got to deal with that nonsense. So Millie has had some interactions with her, and so has Helena. and we'll see what happens when we get back to the town square, if she's going to be reasonable or if we're going to have to do more of, whatever with her.
All right, yeah. Yes, for the moment, at least, she's been put in her place, it seems. What about you, Pon? What else do you recall, or do you have any questions about last session?
I mostly recall having Helena, I guess as a player, I too was quite terrified and reluctant to progress forward on such little resources and health. But I'm feeling a little bit better now. Things have calmed down a bit. That's about it, though, really. Definitely want to get some digs on if this fancy pants lady's got anything more condescending to say, but I'm hoping she does. Let's bring it. I've been practicing on the internet, getting in fights. Let's go.
Well, she seems to, at least for the moment, maybe not be put in her place, but has shut her noble trap and is sort of, has pulled herself up onto the back of the wagon, too good to walk along with the others.
Of course.
Of course.
Too weak, you mean?
Perhaps. That is up to you to decide. I can neither confirm nor deny these allegations. How about you, Big Bri? Anything left out?
No, I think that about covered our current predicament very, very adeptly.
All right. Millie, J. Fink, how about you? Anything to add or any questions?
I don't think so. I think we've gathered all we could, got some carts and stuff from the one storage area there by the docks, and got everything we could find back into the heading back towards the square, wondering where Cliff has made his way to.
And among those goods are some metals, some obviously really good dwarven steel, a bit of gold, and some mithril. Might be useful later. Well, what about you, Nick? Anything else to add from last session?
Yeah. I mean, he's just like a bat out of hell, trying to just squirrel his way through the buildings and escape. He's pretty sure X is dead. He's not sure about the rest of the party or what's going on with them. He's pretty much like on his own and panicked. I think he's probably, he's not going to be thinking too much right now. He's going to be pretty feral.
Instinct,
All instinct. He might think about things later, but he doesn't have time.
Yeah. All right. So as we come back to it, I've got a little map of the city. Rough outline. Give you all an idea. Let's see here. And this map is courtesy of the Fantasy Town Generator. It's a free resource online that you can make some simple maps of your locations. So that's where that comes from. So let's start out with Millie and company. The wagon, the townsfolk, matron Evram, and your supplies. So you all had a short rest. You all kind of spent the first hour of dawn resting, eating, bandaging wounds, and making your plans. Thinking over where Clifford could be, and assuming that your best bet is to make it back to safety with townsfolk, with the survivors and supplies, and perhaps send some folks after him. But some of you might slip off and scout while you all are moving, and Helena also might send some of her ratlings out and try to catch sight of Clifford. As you all set off, the wagon began to creak up the hill as, let's see here. Yeah, you have some livestock with you, but nothing that can really draw the wagon itself. So you've likely got a series of ropes sort of lashed onto the multiple townsfolk, perhaps Lokag, and are pulling it by your own force. And thanks to Lokag, go ahead,
Lokag's got it.
Yeah.
He's over there doing squats with the cart. I mean, come on.
lifting at least the front wheels off the ground occasionally.
Mm-hmm.
Jogging in place. Trying to tell everyone else to hurry up. So, the first of the sun's light is actually, it's hit the sky a while ago, but the streets have mostly been dark. As you all make your way up the hill, however, you find patches of sunlight along some of the streets. And you can hear sort of, you can hear cacophonous noises, shouting, rhyming chants from goblins several streets over. There's multiple buildings as you all pass by. Now, the straightest and easiest way to go is, of course, back by those series of large burned buildings where you encountered some goblins before. It's like the old dwarven buildings that you all took out a few hobgoblins around. And sort of, it's like an island in the middle of a wide street. All of the buildings inside that island have been burned, and you know that there's goblins hiding in there. The area seems to be somewhat infested with them. Elsewhere in the city, to take detours, it'd be hard to slip this. You're not going to sneak anywhere with this massive group of people, this creaking wagon, the clucking chickens, and the lowing cattle that you have with you. There are some other side streets. There's some other streets that you all could take. It would take you longer to get back to the square if you all wanted to avoid this area of burned out buildings where you know the goblins are. Place a bit on the map to indicate where that was.
I think we maybe scout a little ahead, see if we can find clearer paths.
Anybody else have any thoughts on that?
Avoiding combat while we have a whole bunch of citizens would be good.
I just pulled the cart. You tell me where.
As you all begin to, sort of huddle together around Lokag, who's harnessed into the wagon itself, you, the swishing skirts and clacking heels of Matron Evren approaching. She sort of walks up to the circle of you, presses herself in, and sniffs disapprovingly, sort of a pause before she says anything. If anyone wants to jump in and say anything to her first, she's obviously gathering herself to give you the rough side of her tongue about something or other.
Yeah. I smell it too. Yeah. It smells like entitlement and what is that? Poor taste. Yeah, that's what it is.
She turns a glare over your head. She doesn't look right at you. She just sort of looks over your head and sort of eyes each one in turn. She looks at Millie, like she's considering speaking to Millie. Her eyes sort of widen, and as she looks at X, and she's certainly about to speak to X. Again, there's a moment of her seeming to gather her thoughts or her words. Well, you've certainly not dressed for your station. How do you find yourself with this rabble? High one.
I no longer hold such a station, and this rabble has saved what citizens we could. We've rallied in the town square, and all would be lost, save for these around you that you seem to have such open disdain for. Times have changed. The leadership of the city is gone, crushed beneath the stone.
How can you be sure that all of them are dead? It
Well,
seems
there's certainly none of them that have shown up to help. So if they're not dead, then they're certainly not helping the citizens of this fair town as they should.
And they might as well be.
well, times certainly have changed if one such as you can fall to dishonor. How is it that you were outcast from the temple of the Tuatha?
I was not outcast. I chose to leave.
She gives you a confused and sort of bewildered look. Why on this green and growing earth would you choose to leave your station? It's unthinkable.
It's strange she'd call it green and growing. She probably has never stepped foot outside of the city.
I certainly have.
On your shoes?
Well, I haven't walked to the port cities of the coast, if that's what you're asking. But I've seen them with my own eyes. And who are you to question me? Says Matron Evram.
Person who's taken many blades to ensure you survived.
This seems to... Well, perhaps I have been too hasty in my judgments. Too many changes all at once. Well, they addle the mind. Very well. Let us to this place of safety, and we'll see what we can see. But if all of the leadership of Arabelle have been dashed beneath that stone, that may only leave me to give orders. So we should...
Do you recall, my lady, when I said that things have changed?
I do. She gives you a sort of suspicious look.
I think you will find few inclined to take orders from the likes of you.
The likes of me. I have noble blood. Who better then? One of these?
Yeah.
This is
You're
a time
Goliath?
This is a time for the people who do, not the people who talk and point.
Ah, yes. I've heard such arguments before from rabble-rousers. There have been... Well... Perhaps... Perhaps later's a better time to speak of such things.
I noticed that Lokag is standing like right behind this lady now, and I'll try to get her to turn around so that she just like turns around and all she sees is Lokag.
Okay, so you kind of maneuver her so she... For the moment, her indignant fury forgets the hulking Goliath that's covered in blood and bandages that's standing behind her. She turns and almost runs into his middle of his chest.
Lokag looks down and goes, "What does rabble-rouser mean? I don't like the way you say these things."
She just frowns at you. Like, for a moment, wheels turning, but she just sort of steps around you, moves back around to the other side of the wagon, and sits on the wagon gate. Meanwhile, some of the survivors with you are, they're kind of huddled in as close to the wagon as they can get. Those who are hurt or sort of aged or infirm are piled up on the wagon with the goods. A few of the laborers, well, you have the laborers who have shields, chain shirts, and heavy crossbows. The rest as they can, are walking along, sort of huddled as close to the wagon or to you all as they can get. Some of them kind of getting underfoot and in your way. A young girl sort of pulls on Helena's skirts.
Oh. Why are you doing that?
Hi, I'm
Small
Bevy.
Bevy?
Bevy, she repeats.
Oh, Bevy, I see.
Where'd the old man go? The nice old man. With the big, loud crossbow?
Oh. No. Where did he go? She points in the general direction. Now disappointed that the child didn't actually want her attention.
Just point them towards the square. Lena, we don't know where he is.
Just find all the other people that way.
She doesn't, she nods as if kind of taking what you're saying in. I hope he's going to be okay. I think you're very pretty, says the kid, and scampers off to the other side of the wagon, finding her mother.
Wow, kid's funny.
So, as you all consider whether to go back by these burned out sort of like apartment blocks in the city or to choose another route, and it's mentioned someone sort of scouting off and seeing if there's a safer route. What do you all think? Does anyone volunteer to scout?
Seems like
Axel, go.
something.
We should keep an eye out for Cliff. Sorry, pardon.
Oh, it's all good. Seems like something Helena might be inclined to do. She knows the streets. Kind of her thing.
Perhaps you and X, or X, do you hang behind if Helena offers to scout?
Yeah, no, let's go together. Teamwork.
All right.
All right. Do you all choose to sort of go uphill toward the stone or downhill toward the outer city walls to scout? Or, do you each pick a direction and go off and reconvene at the cart?
About how far have we gone from the docks?
Not very
we're still,
far.
like-
You're within about 2 blocks of the docks. You can still, look down through all the buildings that were pretty much wiped out just over the foundations of buildings, and you can see the still smoldering wreckage of 2 of the warehouses.
X is a pretty wise sort of fellow. Can I sort of use my insight to feel like which way is better?
Well, sure. The first thing, though, is that downhill is away from the Goblin Stone and potentially further from Goblin interference. It's hard to say how far they've gotten out into the city, but you definitely hear them in many places. Their sort of evening revelry that you've come to think of it as, perhaps. But yeah, go ahead and make your insight check.
Fail. 7.
Well, without anything else to go on, downhill seems to be the most likely place of direction to go that's you're going to avoid goblins, that you hope to find less of them.
I will try to use guidance for Helena as she starts to sneak around, and then I will use guidance on myself.
Okay. So go ahead and give me those stealth checks. And we'll need a perception, investigation, or a survival check. Survival will help you find tracks or subtle signs of the goblins. Investigation will help you find traps, and perception is going to help you find actual goblins.
X got an 11 on the stealth check, so not so great.
17 on stealth for Helena.
Okay.
It
22.
says 20.
Nice.
Perception.
22 perception for X. Excellent. Helena, are you going to be doing survival or investigation, do you think?
I did survival, and I got a 14.
Okay. Awesome. X is that, I guess you're giving guidance, so that's going to be a D4. So yeah, X, you're able to provide that guidance, and that'll go for all those checks. So
It only works for the stealth checks because once we're sneaking, I can't
Okay.
yell.
Okay. All
Should I just roll 2d4s?
He said it's only going to work for the stealth check. In which
So-
case, he's got you at a 20 for that stealth check.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And yeah, so if you wanted to, you got okay, survival, excellent. Well, as you move southward, there's wind-blown ash from the burned buildings, and that sort of dust from the goblin stone falling and sort of blasting that masonry dust out through the city. The wind itself has swept it over into corners and small piles here and there in the streets. As you move southward, the amount of goblin and hobgoblin footprints gets thinner and thinner, less and less. As you so scouting down toward the next gate into the inner city, because there's of course outer city walls you've got to move back through to make it to the market square, back into Mistfield. And X, as you all are scouting along, you spot goblin lookouts in some of the buildings. And X, you yourself are spotted by one. And you know this because it sort of jerks upright and then vanishes. It's up in a sort of a... there's a small spire on the edge of what was once a pretty fine manor. The windows have been broken out and you can see scorch marks on the side of the building. Obviously, or definitely goblins in here. And X, you were clearly spotted. So what does X do as this goblin vanishes from sight?
I'll scurry back to wherever Helena is and let her know that we've been spotted. So there are some goblins. We've been spotted. You want to look for another route?
Yeah, we probably should. We should probably do it fast. Come on, let's go this way. And she kind of maybe goes, I don't know, down a path that's not directly behind them, but a little bit behind them and jig-and-jagging off to the left.
Okay. Yeah, forcing you to scout like a more circuitous route. Alright, so as you all slip almost due south now, running, the river's sort of running alongside you, downhill a few blocks away. You find a narrower avenue, not quite an alley. Most of the buildings that you spot have been heavily burned, windows broken out and such, and you don't see any sign of goblins in this direction. But as you approach the gate here, as you approach the middle gate, you see red, orange, black, and green paint splattering the walls nearby. You see rough banners of the, it's a broken, roughly shaped bone, almost like a kid's drawing that's been broken. You recognize the banner of the Shatterbone goblins. You can see firelights inside the precinct in those walls. And X, based on the noise inside, you think there's maybe 6 or 7 goblins inside. There's an argument, a bunch of shouting. It sounds like they're eating and probably settling down for rest. They're going to have some people watching the gate even during the day. This is probably like one of the last spots you could take the wagon, at least southward. unless you wanted to go all the way to Southgate. That would be here on the map. Otherwise, it's going back toward the wagon, or going back toward the wagon and moving north toward Eastgate. So what do you all think? Do you want to suss out how many goblins, see if your people can take them out, or try to avoid this gate? There is something to be said for if you could clear this gate out, you could install some of your own people and maybe start to make, or at least make a safe place for yourselves for another point.
Do we still got to scope out like how many we think there are?
X is fairly certain there's no more than 7 based on the noise. It's
We
too
could
early
take-
for all of them to be asleep.
Maybe not just us, but we could definitely take 7. I mean, I like the idea of establishing, like, kind of expanding or reclaiming our territory. Really,
What does X think about that?
I just don't want the NPCs to get hurt, right? So if we're going to combat here, we've got to leave them alone with the wagon and come fight. And meanwhile, they're alone with the wagon. You see what I'm saying? So if we take them with us, they're in danger. If we leave them behind, they're in danger. That's why I don't want to fight. But if we have to fight, 7 goblins shouldn't be that big of a deal. So I guess we just keep them with us and clear this area out.
So it sounds like you head back to the wagon and meet up with Lokag and Millie. Discuss it with them or something else.
Hello, Keg. Looks like you're going to have some more action today. You ready, big guy?
Oh, heck yeah. Pulling this wagon's got me all jacked up. My legs, look at my quads.
And he pulls out his leg and he just tightens it into a muscle and he slaps it.
No jiggle. I haven't been this pumped in months.
X is assessing quietly whether or not Lokag is still too drunk to fight.
Oh, but the good news is, though, they're all going to sleep. It's gonna be so funny.
What does Millie think about this plan?
I am quite tapped out of any of my abilities. But I am willing to try.
You got a sword, don't you?
That is about it.
Yeah, stab things. We'll just stab things.
So as you all begin to discuss, Matron Evra hears this and clacks her hard-soled boots back around towards you all. A fight? Is this what I hear? How do you expect to keep us all safe from the goblins?
Well, you just stay back far enough. Use common sense. I don't know, hide behind the corners of buildings or something.
I see, she says.
Goal is to sneak up on them if they are sleeping.
Ah,
In which case, we wouldn't want the entire group to be that close anyway.
I think that is wiser than just charging in willy-nilly and attacking.
Yeah, we haven't gotten this far doing that kind of... Right? She kind of looks around suspiciously.
Right, we've never rushed headfirst into things.
Never.
Luckily for you all, she didn't see you all charge into combat and rush headlong into things. Too busy with whatever was happening in the ship at that time.
Getting in a boat.
Well, I'll prepare the others. try to keep them silent as we approach. But you're not just going to leave us here, are you?
How many blocks, Hex, do you think we have before they would notice us?
6 blocks. Or so.
11.
Oh, 11.
Oh,
11's
6.
good.
We'll move everyone up a little, and then, yes, you'll have to stay put. You have the laborers who have acquired all these crossbows, keep a perimeter, keep everyone safe.
Above the table, for political reasons, do we want Millie to bodyguard this lady just for show? Just a question.
It's kind of funny.
Jay Fink, what do you think about that for Millie? How would
Yeah,
she feel?
I mean, she's willing to go into battle, or willing to let the altogether sneakier people go in.
Well, you're certain that.
I don't think she won't be really bodyguarding this lady as much as bodyguarding the entirety of the people we've saved.
Right. Well, you do have the 8 dock workers, shields and such. Like I said, put a perimeter around the wagon and the rest of the townsfolk. All right. Well, with that sort of set, and yeah, if you do decide, whatever you decide, Jay Fink, once things are happening, just let me know. If you decide if you want to stay with her, or if you decide to rush in with the gang.
I think what Millie would do is let me get the workers in a protective perimeter, and then I will catch up with you all.
So when you go to speak to the workers, they are taut as drawn bowstrings. They're just on edge. You they you could tell. I mentioned last session. You could see that they've been through several scrapes, but tussles and stuff like that. But nothing really like this. So what does Millie say to them to get them sort of more focused and ready?
You all, we need your help again. There is danger up ahead that my friends and I will take care of, but that means somebody needs to stay back here and protect this caravan heading in to the square.
Garden wagon, a proper job, says one.
Yes, I think ideally you could perhaps stand up the shields, put them into the ground, and then stay behind them with the crossbows and take out anything that goblin that comes around any corners. We'll call Bridget's name if we're approaching.
Right. That we can do. So the one turns to the others and starts sort of basically repeating the orders that you gave in rougher terms than Millie might use these days. And, having spoken to him a bit, you could tell you studied them a little bit just by sort of giving them a job, and just talking to him in that way is sort of like a statement of trust. At least that's how they seem to take it. And so they take their perimeter job more seriously, and they seem not less on edge, but more focused than they did before. Instead of like sort of looking everywhere and being sort of nervous, they look sort of almost angry, like ready. It's that tight, hard focus of people who might see blood and death sometime soon. And soon the wagon is rumbling in that direction, with Helena and X sort of appearing and disappearing up ahead of you all, slipping across the road or darting from shadow to shadow, occasionally giving a gesture to guide you all forward. Meanwhile, a ways to the north, Clifford has slipped out of the burned building, or waiting for the goblins on the roof to come into view and slip off. Clifford begins to slip out the window and move forward. Looking left and right, you quickly scamper across the road into another narrow alleyway. But you get the feeling that there are still goblins in the area. You have a prize the stone probably does not want to let go of.
Yes.
So how does Clifford handle this? All alone in the war-torn city with a very important prize.
Well, yeah, he is in a panic. I have an option to Bugs Bunny this and use Mold Earth to sort of dig 5 feet at a time.
That's true.
So conceivably, he could work his way under buildings. I think it's all dirt around here. Some of the buildings will have stone foundations, but I think he'd be able to kind of dip underground occasionally when there's danger to avoid when he sees people, and then pop back up and sort of peek, through the dirt, and then come and then run again if he needs to. And so that's kind of the angle I think he's going to go for. Is he's going to sort of prairie dog his way through the streets and the best he can, jumping into alleys, getting under buildings, maybe grabbing a sandwich somewhere. I think that's the angle. If he can get back to his friends, if he can sort of get whatever gets him away from the goblins. So if it's not directly towards the town square, if it gets him some distance so that he can, kind of get around. He's hoping his friends are okay. If there's a way that he might end up kind of circling back toward them, maybe he would do that. He knows the city pretty well. But otherwise, he's going for the square.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead and give us a survival check
All right.
and a perception check.
All right. See how we do there.
12
Okay.
survival and a 22 perception.
Yeah.
Right. So Clifford, as you slip down that alley, moving from shadow to shadow, occasionally testing the ground to see if you can mold the earth, you find a lot of stone. Here and there, there's like a lot out front of one of the houses that's earth, gardens and things like that. And you find that you can move very short distances, but what it's most useful for is simply hiding. You can dip into the ground, pull a bunch of dirt over yourself with your magic, and hide for a moment. Yeah, you can sort of move across a yard, like 50 or 60 feet of earth, pop back up next to a low wall.
Yeah.
All right, give me just a moment.
Yeah, I got no other spells. I got the mold earth. That's what I got in my back pocket when I don't have anything else.
Well, you managed to keep the goblin eyes off of you for the most part. Simply just, when you hear them, stop and either pick a spot to hide. And if you're out in the open, try to burrow into the ground.
He just dives into the ground like it's water. He'll just dive in. It turns liquid for a moment, like mud, and then pops up.
But it still clings to you. So as you come out, you are
he'll be all dirty. Yeah, he's
covered
a
in
mud
mud and
man.
dirt.
Yeah, exactly.
Does not feel
maybe
good
looks
in
a little
your-
he might look like a hobgoblin now. He might be a little more might fit in. Although they're pretty clean, aren't they?
The hobgoblins are
generally
pretty clean, yeah.
Military. They like to keep themselves tight.
Yeah, for sure. But the goblins themselves, not so much. At least these goblins.
Not so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that mud does not feel good in your multiple wounds. Although you did get that short rest and were able to bandage some of them.
Yeah. Packed it in. At least I'm not bleeding, right?
Right.
He's in full Rambo mode at this point.
So there's a certain, as you manage to, underneath one of the narrower roads, you manage to sort of burrow underneath and come out in another yard. But then from there, there's not a lot of... there's kind of two things that come up. Once you've delved underneath the ground and burrowed and come up a few times, crossed an alley, forced to sort of double back and move a different direction. In the tangle of houses, some of which are burned husks, some of which are still seem mostly intact except for broken windows or axed down doors, you find yourself a little bit lost and need to get your bearings again. You think you've gotten closer to the square, but from where you're at, just in a tangle of houses and buildings, you for the moment lost your bearings. You can hear one street over a small band of goblins sort of arguing amongst themselves, or actually, yeah, you can understand them.
Yeah.
They're arguing about who's going to get the reward for bringing the staff back.
I will be moving away from them towards another direction. Whatever's that way, whatever's away from the goblins is pretty much his feral one-track mind. I had a dog I lost, and she ran around the city for 25 hours overnight, and she couldn't find her way home. And all she did was just run and run and run, and just hoping that eventually she'd find us. So that's kind of where he's at. He's just like a dog, just a stray, trying to find his master. In this case, it's a bar. He just wants to get back to the bar.
All right. Well,
which is where my dog ended up. My dog ended up at a bar, by the way. Just so you know.
Wow. I want to hear more about that story sometime.
It's a good story. Good story.
Rescued by a person named Baba Brune?
Someone like that. Yeah, it was actually Scotty. Scotty called me and said, "Your dog is here." It was our local bar, and the dog showed up there.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, so as Clifford slips away from these goblins, go ahead and make a stealth check as you're forced to cross a wide open street, nowhere to burrow.
All right.
And so you're hoping you get to this next.
I might roll
corridor.
my reroll on that one. I think.
Okay,
I'll
on
do
that 10.
I'll use my one inspiration because that's weak.
All right.
Weak sauce.
Yeah, for viewers out there, I give inspiration starting out every session for my players, and they can use it ahead of time to get advantage, or they can roll it after the fact to re-roll. So, okay, so that 14.
Not much better, but 14.
That's a bit better, for sure. But there's an alarming shout behind you. "There!" shouts one of the goblins, and you know that you're spotted.
Book it.
Okay.
Gotta run.
And
Run.
they give chase.
If I can get around a corner and dive under the rocks, dive underground again, I will. But I'll try to just keep running it. That's all I have.
Okay. So as you
How many are chasing me?
you sort of look back, and there's 4 of them chasing you.
No. Great. Yeah, he'll just keep doing what he can to ditch him. If there's an object he can drop, like a barrel or anything he can sort of drop behind him to make things hard for them, he will.
Okay, yeah, you managed to rush into an alley. There's crates and boxes, hand carts, like broken hand carts. It looks like the goblins have pretty much smashed anything they could find, opened it up to see what was in it, or if it was useful,
Right.
they broke it. So you were able to, throw a bunch of things. However, that's going to make some noise. They're following you for a bit as you continue to dash forward.
All right.
And they're, before you can get to the next corner, they're in that alleyway and coming up behind you. But they can't. None of them can stop and shoot, or they'll lose track of you. You can hear one shouting to the others, "Stay together! Don't lose him! We will be favored by the masters if we return this. There, in his hand, the staff." Another whispers, another grunting as they sort of charge along behind you. The staff! Get the staff!
At this point, it's stowed on his back.
Okay, yeah, just sort of shoved through your harness. Okay.
Yeah.
Or behind your pack or whatever.
Yeah, he's just gonna do his best to navigate his way through town, and try to just get away from these little buggers. And if he has to fight him, he will. But
so
outlast him.
You run.
Yeah.
You hear them like shouting. One of them breaks off, and you can hear him like yelling extremely loud, sort of just rah, trying to get the attention of other goblins. Running northwest. Come, Shatterbone, the staff. And soon, out of sort of looking down another road as you move like cat a corner across an intersection, you see another troop of 6 goblins about 100 feet away. They catch sight of you and start running after you.
Go, whatever gets me away from him, he's just gonna keep running.
Okay. Yeah.
Unless he can find a way to duck under the ground at some point.
Not just yet, but as you're running, you end up moving toward you move down a major street and you can see one of the gates. You think it's the gate you came through, East Gate.
The town. Awesome.
Back into the inner city.
He'll make for the gate like he's Indiana Jones running for the plane, just like, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they chase you for, 15, 20, then 30 seconds, and you need to make a constitution save as you are starting to get winded.
All right. Well, hopefully my con's better than your con.
Right?
11.
An 11?
Could be worse.
That will succeed.
I'm not that old. You all call me an old man. I'm not that old, all right?
No, and yeah, you've got more endurance than some of these goblins. Out of the pack of the crew of 6, first 1, then 2, and then 4 of them sort of drop back, moving a lot more slowly as they're getting winded. From the 4 following you, 1 had dropped back to shout, 2 more. So there's now just 2 goblins chasing after you. Now they kind of come together onto the same street and are roughly behind you. On the other side of the gate, there's a series of burned out buildings, and if you can make it to that, maybe a block past this, there's several gardened houses with large gardens out front and back that you could easily use them in.
All right. Well, that's what he'll try to do. Yeah, he'll work his way around and just go yay and holler to whoever's behind the gate, and let them know, and then he'll just work his way around a corner and dive beneath the rose bushes.
All right. So as you charge through the gate, let's see here. You are covered in mud. So as you're charging toward the gate, on one side, so it's just like South Gate, where there's two tower-like walls and a bridge that connects, and arrow slits up above. And you see figures moving inside of them. You see them draw arrows and aim at you. And they speak.
Can I go like that?
In common. Halt or be shot down, says a very human voice from inside the tower.
Cliff will holler, I got 2 coming behind me!
You hear whispered words inside.
And he'll have his gun ready.
Okay.
He'll have his pistol out. And he'll kind of be like, hey! And he'll stop moving. But he's ready to draw.
Okay.
He doesn't want to get shot.
Whoever it is, whether it's a guard or just one of the townsfolk, come to the door for safety. We'll let you in.
Yeah. Hell yeah, he's going.
Okay, so you run toward one of the iron-bound doors at the base of the tower.
Hell yeah.
And a few seconds later, the door starts to creak open. Arrows now, 2 arrows shatter on the walls next to you as you duck in to the tower itself. And you can hear, just as the door is shutting, you can hear above you bows snapping as they fire back at the goblins.
Nice.
A very dirty halfling woman sort of pushes the door shut behind you. She's wearing a torn and bloodied guard's uniform. What the hell happened to you? She says. She looks you up and down, covered in mud and bloody bandages.
He wipes the mud off his face in a big chunk so you can sort of see his face, and sort of straightens his mustache a little bit and looks at her. It was a nightmare. You wouldn't believe it. Everything was on fire. The buildings were on fire. The boat exploded, and they had this staff. I don't even know what it does, but they all wanted this damn staff. And X is dead. X is dead.
Oh, now calm down. You're safe. You're safe. Were you mean to say you were at the docks?
Yeah.
We heard the explosion and saw the fires.
It's all on fire. Have you heard from them? Are they okay? What about Lokag?
I don't know who you're talking about, but you're the only one we've seen except goblins.
My friends, we're like the heroes that saved the goddamn town, all right? Come on, you know us. Jeez.
Markham upstairs told me about you all. He said he spotted you all moving through, headed to the docks.
I might be the only one left. I don't know what the hell happened to them. I gotta talk to someone. Someone's gotta help me. I gotta go back and help them.
Oh, no, don't do anything rash. You're here, you're safe.
You gotta send someone out then. I'll go with you. I know where they were, but
we don't go outside unless the sun's welling up. Not until mid-morning at best.
Who can tell me what this goddamn thing does? And he'll hold the staff up. He doesn't know what it's totally unfamiliar to him. All he knows is they want it.
I've seen that before. When I was a lad, we got to visit the temple. I saw that in a glass case. I know what that is.
What is it?
Well, that's the staff of the Dia. The builder, Ogma.
Ogma.
It's his staff. You retrieved it.
Well, I killed the person who was wielding it. It was powerful. It made a big wall, big storms. Powerful thing.
That's a good sign. Seeing that. Yeah. Do you need food? Water? You can hear them working at. You can hear now through the building, echoing down the ladder and stairs. You can hear just bow shot after bow shot.
Look, I'm fine. I'll get up there and help on the wall at least, and someone's got to get this staff to the right person who knows what to do with it. You want to hold on to this? You want to hold on to this one and make sure it's safe?
The staff?
Yeah, I don't know what the hell it does.
Well, I'll hold on to it for you.
Get it to somebody. Get it to somebody important. Bring it back to the town square and make sure it's safe, all right?
Town square? Well, there's
Can you get there?
We haven't tried. City's full of goblins.
Oh, I had no idea. You can't get there. God damn it. Well, what have you seen? You haven't seen anyone? Are the goblins about on the side of the wall? You got those two? He'll kind of try to look up on the wall and see if they took out those last two goblins and see if there's any more coming.
Yeah, if you start climbing up, the archers up top are... There's actually a couple of... At the base, there's people racked out on just, whatever they can find to sleep on. He points upstairs and says that Deg's in charge. Maybe Deg will know more. So you go climbing up the ladder. They're sort of leaning back, leaning their bows up against the walls. Got them running. Says Says a very dark-skinned dwarf with sort of very bushy, unkempt beard, more silver than brown. Oh.
Thanks for not shooting me.
Yeah, glad I didn't. You one of those that came from the square, huh?
Originally, and then we got into a mess on the docks, and everyone's on fire, and I got my friends, and I don't know what happened to them. I think one of them's dead, and I had to get this. I had to get this back. They wanted it. The builder. It's some Ogma staff.
Bloomin' hells! The staff of Ogma. What the hell was it doing out of the it survived the fallen stone, huh? Bloomin' hells.
They picked it up, and one of the twisted goblin shaman was throwing walls up and making a mess, and powerful. I knew it was powerful. I knew I had to take it from him. So I stabbed him through the gut, right up into his head.
Good to hear that. Good to hear that. Well, look, we got scouts. Just sent them out. Running up and down the walls. So far, we've seen the fires, saw the explosion. Saw you all from a distance. At least some of the scouts did over the morning. Night watch. I saw your antics down at the docks, and well fucking done. Well done.
Well, it wasn't half of us, and more of just that explosion took out half of them. That was a sacrifice. I've never seen anything like that in my entire life. But my friends are still out there. So if there's anything I can do to try to find them or help them, there's a bunch of townspeople out there too. I don't even know. I mean, they could all be dead for all I know. God damn it! Damn it! And he just like starts to kind of crumple a little bit, I think, and Cliff's a little bit like just unapproachable and leaning up against a wall and beating himself up about this because he's pretty sure at least half of them are dead.
So you brought some hardtack bread and some even harder cheese to eat. A cup of warm water.
The cheese just makes him think of the rats, and he cries.
Oh man! The dwarf Deg sort of turns away uncomfortably as you start to cry. Some of the others just sort of kind of see their jaw work as if they probably have people they're missing. That it brings them to think of.
I'm just sweating a lot out of my eyes. All right. A lot of running.
Not surprised. Looked like you ran a hard way. But, look, as far as we know, between here and the square, the only place we're certain has goblins is, was the old well, the Dwarven District, the East Gate Market Square. All the buildings have been burned, well enough anyway. Seems like goblins are holed up in it. We lost a couple scouting the area for food and such. But with you and the rest of us, once I wake up the others downstairs, about 8 of us total, everybody decent with a sword and shield or a crossbow, we should be able to get our way there. Should be able to at least fight through that area. If
It'll be easier if we wait for my friends. I say we give them an hour. Hopefully they show up. I don't want to leave them right now, if I can. Do I think they might be coming this way? Like they might come this direction to get.
You know that this is the way that you came, but you don't. You don't know. You haven't heard them yet. Right. Although they're probably going to be moving a little slower than you.
Yeah, I think I'd hold up at the gates, and I think Cliff's going to stay, and help with the guard, and be ready to move to town square if things get ugly. You know.
Okay.
Just get ready to like hit and run, you know, if we have to. But hopefully he can keep an eye out. I don't know if anyone has a telescope or anything, but
no.
Try to keep an eye out on what's going on. Yeah.
Okay. Well, if it's helpful to use a long rest, you can utilize that as you wait. The place is definitely safe.
Okay.
It's not being attacked at the moment.
All right. Yeah. If that much time goes by, then I'll take it. But we'll see what happens.
Okay. All right. So as you rest there, let's step back over to X and the others who are planning to maybe storm another gate as we speak. The wagon trundling along, Lokag sort of now still back in the harness, pulling the wagon. A few others have, ropes tied to them as they help Lokag pull it. The guards, the laborers come guardsmen are arrayed around the wagon. And, soon you can see X and X or perhaps Helena sort of signaled for you all to stop the wagon and leave it where it lies. Helena and X, you guys can make investigation, and each, one of you make investigation, the other make perception. You can do that with advantage, as you all are helping each other at this point. Just looking around the precinct, see if there's any traps laid around, see if you can get a better idea of how many goblins, if there's more than you think.
I'm trying to remember how to put on advantage in the new
It should be just right up top, just above your nameplate.
automatic.
It's,
Okay, got
whisper. Yeah.
it. Thank you.
26 perception on X's. See,
And the other was
investigation.
okay.
Goblins are known for trapping places where they spend any amount of time. So 21. And you do find several tripwires around the area. While X, goes to keeping watch on the towers and walls above. X, you're certain that there's none of the goblins are walking the walls. And you don't see any other sign of goblins in the area. So you think that this is all that is here, is the 6, perhaps 7 that you counted. Voices rise and fall from within, and as the daylight grows and the sun gets higher in the sky, they get a bit quieter. Some of them might even be asleep at the moment. It seems that several cobblestones, if you were to walk through the gate, several cobblestones have been moved and stand a little higher than they should. You can kind of, even from where you're at, not even stepping out, but still in the shadows, you can see like scour marks from where a crowbar or something was used to leverage these up. And, putting a small vial of poison gas or something under a stone is a pretty common and simple trap. Thieves Guild people use it aplenty in Arabelle, so it's not it's definitely not too sophisticated for the goblins to use.
So we suspect a trap then.
You do. Like, for once the wagon rolls over this area, it's very likely the wagon wheels or one of the townsfolk or guardsmen would step on it and break it.
Can we disarm it?
X, you're, with X sort of watching, and there's a sort of one of the goblins in the windows keeps sort of looking around, looking out the window, kind of toward the docks, or trying to look out in that direction. Although from the narrow arrow slit, they can't see very much. So with X on watch, he can sort of tell you when they're out of sight, and you could slip out and try to disarm some of these traps, or vice versa. You could keep watch for X, and X could slip out and try to disarm the traps.
Would that be a
Helena
sleight?
Let's see here. There should be a spot for thieves' tools, which is what you'd use for that.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. X, you said something, DL?
Oh, I was just going to say Helena has great success with these rolls, so I'll leave it to her.
Okay.
All right, thieves' tools, just regular.
Yeah, just a single roll. It shouldn't be too hard, and it's a pretty simple trap.
25.
Absolutely. You managed to, with that roll, disarm 2 of the 3 traps. I need one more roll for the last remaining trap.
Ooh, one more.
Only 3, but that's such a good roll. I figured it should count twice for the simple traps.
Oh, I have to click.
25 on that roll is pretty great.
Okay, here goes.
All right.
19.
A 19. All right. So in about 30 seconds, you rush out. You use some of your thinner thieves' tools, little hooked ends. You pull up, quickly stab it down, and pull up. You find a small. It's basically like a very small potion vial. Both are full of dense and roiling green gas of some sort. Likely a cloud of poison gas. But you're able to recover all 3 of these poison gas vials, which might be useful later.
Yeah, I'm going to just slip them into a little safe pocket, nice and padded. These goblins are more clever than I thought.
So with the traps out of the way, and X having a really good idea of when this goblin comes and goes, you all stand a pretty good chance of sneaking up. Although, opening the door that looks like had been bashed in, the metal frame is buckled. It might be kind of loud, but you all have a chance to open it silently. The rest of the townsfolk are they give almost they look almost too assured, as if they're overcompensating for their nerves, as Millie and Lokak begin to slip over toward X and Helena. Does Millie do anything before slipping and rejoining?
Yeah, I mean, we would have left them pretty far back there.
Sure.
I think just trying to kind of give them a kind of that "you've got this" to the ones we've set to guard it. That's about it.
Make a persuasion check.
Persuasion. Nope. A 7, because that's all this character rolls.
Oh no.
7s.
Could be.
I'll burn my DM inspiration as well, and just give that another shot.
Okay.
An 11, because this time it was a natural 7 on the dice.
Oh my goodness. Well, it's going higher, so hopefully that trend continues. A 10 is sufficient, though. That returned nod is firm with eye contact, and but they don't waste much time on it, you know. What about X? Does he do anything before he leaves the wagon behind? Sort of a couple blocks away, at a corner.
No, I'm going to trust the people with the wagon to keep it safe, and I'm going to focus on hiding, sneaking, spotting goblins ahead of us, and letting the party know what our entry point looks like.
As I reach you all, I will hand each one of you a... Well, actually, during our short rest, we all could have regained an extra 1d8 hit points.
Oh,
as part of the chef feat. Yep.
Nice. You guys can go ahead and each of you that were there for that, go ahead and roll that extra d8. And add that to your hit point total.
Perfect. Brings me right to 31. Max hit points.
Lokak, you're muted.
Perfect. Right to 45 max hit points.
So does Lokak do anything before he leaves the wagon behind? He goes to rejoin X and Millie?
He just grabs his maul that he recovered from the battlefield before they left and spins it and does a little twirl with it. Just feels, starts loosening up the shoulders. So he's getting ready.
Excellent. Well, X, you've also, you're casing this place pretty well over about a half hour as you bring the wagon up close. So you've picked out a pretty decent path for them to follow and hopefully stay out of sight, and it'll hopefully sort of direct any of their sound off and out and down the hill instead of up and toward the guard tower. So everyone, as you approach, you can all make stealth checks. And unfortunately, everybody, Millie and Lokags will be with advantage. Unneeded for that 21 for Lokag.
Figured I'd roll it twice just in case.
All right.
25.
Like mine. I was much sneakier earlier.
That's true. Oh, actually, I didn't mean for you to roll. We should keep yours from last time because you haven't done anything really to break that stealth.
Okay.
Slipping. Where'd it go?
16.
Yeah, a 20 stealth check. Okay.
I need to roll a d8.
Oh, yeah.
We got a 2.
So as you all creep up to the base of this sort of tower-like wall, one of 2 towers that flank the gate, the door, like I mentioned, it's sort of an iron-bound, thick wooden door. It's been buckled and broken, and the metal frame is buckled in from where the goblinoids pried and beat roughly at the door to open it up. It's likely to make noise as you open it. But if someone were very careful, they could open it and have a chance of surprise.
I think Lokag should try to very carefully, go through the door.
Okay.
All right, does anybody position themselves otherwise or do anything else before, as Lokag's ready to open the door and move in?
I kind of imagine going in like this world's version of like the CIA or FBI coming into raiders. Instead of our guns, we have crossbows. We're just like, all right, all like filing in right behind. That's what at least that's what Helena's gonna do.
And also, the guy in front is 8.5 feet tall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You won't even see her.
All right, so as you all are, lined up and on either side of the door and behind Lokag, you can make an additional stealth check. No advantage, just single roll as you open the door and see if you can open it quietly.
Okay.
Decent DC to do that with any stealth.
All right, I love it. All right, here we go. All right, a 10. So, in the presumption that that's not enough,
Correct.
here's what I am thinking, right?
Okay.
So I'm thinking Lokag kind of sitting on a corner, and he's getting all hyped up. He's going, and he's gonna start. He thinks it's in his head, but out loud he's going dun 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 ba da ba 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 ba, and he's like making little music sounds with his mouth as he does like a combat roll down the middle of the street, and then charges in going like just grunting and making these loud noises, puffing noises.
You throw the door open. A couple of goblins sort of roll out of their hovel-like bedroll of mounted clothes, but they are all surprised. Lokag, there's 4 of them sort of laying about in various stages of asleep or falling asleep. As Lokag, you're the first in. What do you do?
I find the closest one and no quarter, just smash. I'm gonna attack with my maul.
All right. Reckless or regular?
I'm gonna go reckless. I want to ask. This might be a gimme, so I'm fine either way on a
Okay.
yes or no. I was gonna ask if I could have raged before attempting the stealth. I'm fine.
No,
if
I
not.
don't think so. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, but yeah, I'm still reckless attacking with the maul on one of the surprised goblins.
Okay. A
23 to hit.
That is gonna hit.
Excellent. We're gonna roll damage. It's gonna be 11 damage. I'm gonna attempt to savage attacker that.
Okay.
13 damage. Okay. Take it.
Feel free to describe or pass as you absolutely destroy this goblin who's still prone, has not gotten up yet.
Okay. Lokag, as he combat rolls in and is just humming to himself. And he's gonna swing the maul, but like a golf club. And this goblin like sits up and is looking at him, the maul connects directly with its face, and his poor little goblin head goes like flying off. I mean, it's a solid 300-yard drive.
Nice.
Hello. As he like comes in and sees the goblins looking at him.
All right. So, Millie, as you are right behind, you can make your. How do you proceed? As door flung open, and Lokag no longer blocking the door because he's charged into the tower.
With Lokag entering first, disposing of one of these goblins.
There's 3 more on the ground floor. All 3 of them are still prone. They're still laying there, barely reacting to you all. Place reeks of stale booze.
Ah, drunk goblins. Perfect. Millie will go up as well and just try to hit one of these things. Though probably with more of the butt of the sword or the flat of the blade. Knock it out.
All right. They're going to be rolling with advantage as they're prone.
I don't have my shield out at the moment.
So 2-handed with the longsword. 19 is definitely going to hit.
It's 13 bludgeoning damage.
Feel free to describe or pass as you knock one of the other goblins out.
Just right on the head. Just. Then I'll turn to Lokag. And a warmth will come over you as you get a vow of sustenance.
Nice.
Gaining 4 temp HP.
Oh yeah, that golden girl glamour, baby.
Nice.
Reserve it. There's more of them. Let's go.
All right, so right behind would be probably Helena, as Millie and Lokag charge into the chamber, taking 2 of the goblins out. There's 2 more on this floor, and probably at least a couple more up the ladder. So what does Helena do?
I'm gonna shoot the first thing I see. Hopefully it'll be sleeping. She's all about the cheap shots right now. So is there a really cheap shot within view, within the distance I can move?
Well, the goblins are prone, so for you it'll be disadvantage to hit them with a ranged attack.
Oh, well, let's stab them.
Okay, yeah, you can charge. You can, you all are moving in, sort of one after the other. So yeah, let's see whatever melee weapon attack you use on one of the prone goblins. Just starting to fall asleep.
Oh man. Okay, short sword. All right. That's what we're gonna do. Do it. I'm not good at this new spell sheet. Give me a second.
That's okay.
This new character sheet, spell sheet.
Yeah,
I tell you.
2024 character sheets. Definitely
Attack.
a different layout.
I want it. Combat. Do it. I don't know. It has unarmed strike, which is not. I have the sword.
It may not be equipped. Yeah, there's a little the short sword. It should be on now. It's like a little toggle that you click to.
Okay.
So you should just be able to click the short sword. Oh, that's mastery. Interesting. Weird. Okay, well, let's look at. You've got. I think you're gonna have a plus. You have a plus 6 to that roll. So you just roll a d20 with your plus 6.
Okay. That works for me.
Yeah.
All right, that would be 20.
That's definitely going to hit. D6 plus 4.
No.
All right. The goblin is very hurt. His eyes wide, but it's still conscious. And what about X?
X has 2 daggers. And I can jump on these goblins and, just give them a dagger.
Dagger. All right.
I'll use the main hand dagger on the one that Helena already attacked.
Okay. A 14 is going to hit. Oh goodness, let's see here.
I suppose I would have had advantage on that, right?
You definitely would have, yeah. And Helena, you would have too, actually. So you could both re-roll your attack just to see if it's a crit.
Okay. Why not? Nope.
19.
So close. All right, well, let's see the damage on that dagger. Is that the 8?
8.
You can feel free to describe or pass as you finish off the goblin.
I see Helena going after it, and I just follow up, and she, sticks her short sword, and she's like, "Ha!" And I just, follow her right in there and give the same little exclamation, "Ha!"
Nice.
I have an offhand dagger. I can use the nick property.
So just just sort of like surprise single actions.
Okay.
But everyone now brought your tokens out here onto the map, so you 4 can highlight your tokens and roll initiative.
Would you mind pinging me? I'm just in black space.
Oh,
Thank you.
Hey, there's that 20.
nice. Oh, I brought 2 locags out. Sorry about that.
They call that the double keg.
And one more for locag, unless did I mess that up? No, you had not rolled yet. Okay. Alright, so coming around to the top of the order, X. There's one more conscious living goblin.
I should have a 3 there, DM.
What's that?
I should have a 3.
Oh, you should only have a 3?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Alright. So top of the order is X. You can hear up the ladder grumbling of goblin voices, groggy, but becoming quickly alert. One remains on the bottom floor of the tower, still alive. Top of the order is X.
All right. Well, then there's another goblin here prone waiting for some daggers, I would assume.
That's true.
Let's give him his wish. I mean, who am I to deny him a nice little dagger?
I don't know. Who are you to deny that? A 16. Oh, no, that was the... 16 is going to hit.
6 damage.
All right. That's with the sneak attack and everything? Okay. The goblin does not, it does not go still. It's still alive. It's still alert. Soon to be on its feet. Now, this would be a moment to use that nick.
Yeah.
Or your offhand attack, since you've got a dagger in both hands.
Yeah, the offhand dagger. The issue is using it as an offhand. It's not using my dexterity. Oddly enough. Okay, I'm just gonna do it like this, and it'll have another +4 to hit roll.
Okay. Interesting. It should just deny that dex to damage, not to hit. That's weird.
Well, it's showing an offhand ranged attack, which is weird. So 4 damage.
Oh, okay, there it is. 20 to hit. The goblin gives a sort of squeaking sound as you plunge one and the other dagger into its midsection. It sort of grabs the wound and goes slack on its side, unmoving. There's no more alive on
X
this
just
floor.
goes.
Go ahead.
X just goes. Shh.
There's a ladder leading up, and you hear other goblin bodies rousing upstairs.
With my bonus action and movement, I will see if there's somewhere that I can hide.
The best place to hide is on the other side of the ladder, so if they look down, there's less chance of them seeing you.
May I try to stealth there?
Yes, you can. Let's go ahead and see that stealth roll.
Sneaked. 26.
All right. There is movement from above. You hear the sound of a couple of goblins climbing to their feet. And you hear a soft creaking of the floorboards above as they attempt to surprise you, to sneak up on you, but you can hear them all, drunken and groggy as they are. At only what they can see, an arrow is fired at Millie for a 9 to hit. One is fired at Lokak for a 14 to hit. And another is fired at Helena for 9 to hit. I believe those all miss. Lokak, does that 15 hit you?
Miss.
Miss, okay.
Missed on Loki.
So they each fire, and there's a ladder that goes up. There's a 5 foot, maybe 3 foot wide hatch above. They each sort of pop out, fire, and disappear upstairs. They don't come down after you. But what does Helena do as these goblins fire and vanish back around the corner upstairs?
She laughs and says, your attempts to escape are feeble. You're cornered. And she's definitely going to sprint right after him as soon as I can.
So you scamper up the ladder?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Stabby, stab, stab.
You could make it to the top of the ladder with your 30 feet of movement. It's 15 feet up the ladder. So you couldn't,
Alright.
you couldn't, so you could move up and sort of stand over or next to the hatch.
Not close enough to anyone to stab quite yet, huh? Can I shoot?
Yeah, you can. They've all sort of
Okay.
scampered back. There's like a rack of shields that 2 of them are hiding behind. One is out in the open, knocking an arrow.
What if I could do a trick shot? Would it be extra hard? Like, what if I could hit something on the rack that knocks the shields at the top of them?
Like,
Well, that is possible. It's sort of loosely bolted to the floor. If you shot one of the bolts in the front, it might fall down on the other goblins behind it. It'd be a
Okay.
decent, it'd be like, equivalent of like AC 16. So that would be your target if you hit over a 16.
And I should use my crossbow?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna just straight up say it. If it doesn't roll well, I'm using inspiration.
Okay. Fair.
15. Okay, I'm doing it again.
Okay.
Yes.
18 is gonna hit. Let's see that damage. As this, again, your crossbow doesn't have bolts or arrows. It just fires a shaft of bright white light. And where it hits the bolt, it vanishes. There's a creaking sound and the snapping of the other bolt, as all of the weight is now on one bolt. And it pretty quickly tilts backwards, forcing the goblins there to both make dexterity saving throws. They both succeed, but that puts them out in the open now with nothing to hide behind. The shields clatter along, and go ahead and roll a d6 as they both take a bit of bludgeoning damage.
That's right, they do. Yes! 6.
Ooh, nice. Both of them are, one of them has a gash over his forehead. The other is, you can see there's like, it's already starting to swell up where part of the post hit it in the side of the face. You still have your bonus action. Do you have a use for that?
Well, I guess septic strikes. I don't think that would technically.
I think that's one of your weapon attacks or your rattling attacks.
My rat,
Yeah.
right? That'd be a feat for sure. See, this is the one thing I do like about this. I do not have any bonus actions at this moment.
Okay. So yeah, just standing to the side of the hatch. Next in the order is Lokag.
Okay, so there are. Am I correct? There are stairs and a ladder up. Are there
I
two
misspoke
ways
when I
up?
said stairs. There's just a ladder.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I wanted to make sure. All right. I'm gonna. I guess I'm gonna go up the ladder. Do I have enough movement to make it to the top of the ladder and up onto the floor?
Crossing like the extra 5 feet of space from the wall, you need to make an athletics check and see if you can maybe sort of heave yourself up the ladder, giving you an extra 5 feet or so of movement.
I'm gonna bonus action rage.
Okay, nice.
And I'm gonna rage with the spirit of the rat, so that my allies will have advantage on any attack rolls made on enemies within 5 feet of me.
Nice.
And so athletics check should be at advantage here.
Mm-hmm.
That. 26.
Yeah, that'll definitely get you an extra 5 feet of movement as you just sort of leap up, cross some of the space, about halfway up the ladder, begin to really quickly scramble up.
Okay.
As you come up on the, sort of coming up out onto the hatch, you can, whichever side you get on, there will be a goblin within 5 feet of you. There's not much room upstairs, and about half that space is now taken over with a collapsed shield rack.
Awesome. So looking to my left and my right, does either goblin seem more hurt than the other?
They both seem to have been bludgeoned to the same degree.
Okay.
You heard the
Great.
weapon rack upstairs collapse when Helena disappeared up the ladder.
I'm gonna. I guess I'm just gonna recklessly attack the one to my right,
Okay.
and I'm gonna try and move into their space if I have the movement left,
Okay.
to get out of the way of someone else coming up if they want to come up. So reckless attack. Yep, should be advantage. So we'll do malt. That'll be a
And
crit.
nat 20. Nice.
Right. Excellent.
26 on that crit. Nice.
Excellent. Just for funsies,
20
I'm gonna
damage.
see if Savage Attacker does. All right, we'll call that 25 damage.
25. You absolutely destroy some part of this poor goblin's body. Feel free to describe or pass.
So as Lokang sort of grips he's climbing the ladder, right? He's got his maul in one hand, and he uses the maul to kind of latch onto the floor as he gets up, and he uses that to kind of pull himself up. He gets up and he does another combat roll. He's all about combat rolls this session, apparently. And as he comes up from the combat roll, he uses the momentum to swing the hammer back up and then slam it right down on that as the goblin's like stumbling from the weapons rack,
Yeah.
and he just makes a connection square on the goblin's back, and as hammer meets goblin and sandwiches onto floor, there is a crunch and a thud, and my party members below can see the wood of the floor crack and blood start leaking down
Oh my
onto the
goodness.
first floor.
Awesome.
Whoa.
Nice. Let's say that's movement action and bonus action for Lokag. Does he say
Yep.
anything?
He only knows that one phrase in Goblin that Cliff taught him, and so he's just gonna turn to the other one with that big Lokag smile and just say in broken Goblin, "Today is a good day to die."
Nice. Next in the order is Millie.
All right, so Lokeg went up the ladder. Is there any room up beyond kind of how far he got? Or
There is.
Okay.
There's sort of spaces for 3 people to stand right around it because the hatch is up against one wall. So as you climb up, you can either be in front of the hatch, to the left, or to the right of it. So Lokag's on one side, Helena's probably in the front, and so the left side there'd be room to stand.
All right, I will follow suit, climbing up. My 35 feet of movement.
Oh yeah, then yeah, okay. So yeah, you easily can move up and get up there. You see one goblin that seems unhurt, and one whose eye is sort of swelling closed, and the other a ruined mess as Lokag shoulders his maul.
We'll be able to control a Lokag if we call for them to surrender. Yeah, let's try it. Just in common, I'll just tell them to lay down their arms.
Make an intimidation or persuasion check. You can do so with advantage.
Let's try.
See, they're probably already considering that. Well, actually, yeah. You could tell that they're right for that, but the idea probably wouldn't occur to them because they probably would not expect mercy from you all.
I mean, I don't know if I'll get it, but 18.
A
on this
crossbow
persuasion
and a
check.
bow quickly drop to the ground. No kill! No kill! The other just drops his bow, its eye kind of swelling closed. It looks down with one eye at the ruined mess of the other goblin.
Say we tie them up. Let's not waste our energy on these.
What does Lokag do?
Lokag is going to stand up he was kneeling, and he'll stand up and he'll look at Golden Girl, and he'll just pull out some rope, and he'll be like kind of grumbling to himself about like, "Art said the good day to die thing," and like just gonna start tying the goblin's hands behind his back.
All right. How does Helena react to all this?
Let's say to Lokag, you'll find better things to kill later. It's okay.
What am I reacting to specifically?
Oh, just the fact that any of this, that Lokag totally flattened one with a hammer, that Millie called them down and they surrendered. Lokag's grumbling about it.
Thank you for
Yeah.
she's just like bloodlusting, we're like really down energetically, but like you gotta get done. So she's just like practically throwing at the mouth like, who am I stabbing next? If she
You know,
can.
he's trying to escape. Any of them.
Yeah, Millie and Lokag are tying the surviving goblins up. They've thrown down their weapons and have surrendered.
She wants to kill them though. So that's
But does she?
I would allow it to be stopped, but she's gonna try to.
Okay, as Helena moves forward with her short sword, does anybody stop her from axing one of the goblins?
See, Helena, there's no reason to kill these that surrender to us.
Is there any reason to
Perhaps.
keep them alive?
There might be. They may know where more of these relics were taken within the stone.
She drops her dagger and just walks back. Fine.
But if they try to escape, you can then kill them.
All right. She picks her dagger back up. I'll be waiting.
And X, you can hear all this from downstairs. You see the ceiling sag in, crack some, blood start oozing down it. You hear Millie call them down. You hear their bows drop. So you know what's happening upstairs. What does X do?
X will continue to stay down here. Now, X's tendency in a lot of these cases in the past has been to just murder goblins until there's no more left to kill.
Yeah.
But I think in this particular situation, we've got it under control. My allies are upstairs with them. I'll just make sure no more goblins come in from the ground floor. I'll continue to hide and watch.
Okay.
So you slit the throat of the one I incapacitated.
Yeah, Millie knocked one out.
Oh, if I know that goblin's knocked out, I will definitely end it.
Fair enough.
It's peaceful and easy to do so. Your coup de grace is easily gonna take them out.
No, Jar Jar. None of us on this side can speak Goblin. Only the Cliff.
Only Clifford, who's in another guard tower to the north. But here is a good spot, I think, to take a short break, if that sounds right to everybody. And come back in 10, and we'll come back to it with Clifford.
All right, good to me.
Okay.
10 or 5.
10. Let's take 10.
All right. See y'all soon.
All right. And let's see here. I'm going to hang out for a few minutes and talk in chat until there's a couple of players back, and then I will rush off to use the restroom.
Sounds good. I'll stick around as well. I think I'll get some water afterwards.
Okay.
You know how hard it is, folks, to keep to a Paladin oath? These murder hobos everywhere.
Say Helena's Millie's doing a pretty fine job of it.
I will say it's equally as hard in anything like Baldur's Gate 3 to keep to your oaths as a Paladin in that game. Pretty insane.
Yeah.
Respectfully insane as well. Like, to keep a story beat at that level.
Yeah, it's I like that. Paladins used to be the big pain in the butt at the table, back in like AD&D and stuff like that. You couldn't loot any bodies. You couldn't do any of those things. The paladin
Couldn't do anything. Yeah.
the paladin was duty bound to stop the party from doing all that stuff. So
We're lawful good. You get a hand slap for doing anything.
right. Oh yeah. And usually would hate the party rogue on sight, but it caused all sorts of story that the dungeon master didn't have to have to create themselves.
It's always fun.
Yeah, I don't necessarily miss it. What I like about old school play is the procedural dungeon crawling. That's I think is still pretty fun. The main thing.
I've only had a few PvP occurrences in my played games, my DM'd games.
Yeah. What's a highlight?
We have a bag. One of the groups has a bag of devouring, and the exceptionally evil dragonborn almost threw our water genasi into the bag of devouring. It was an interesting day. They were trying to stop them from taking one of the many items that they've found in their adventures through Schultz and now Thay. But yeah, the holder of the bag, the barbarian, had to stop the paladin from throwing them into the bag of devouring. Because it is an Oathbreaker paladin. It's quite interesting. It's a very delicate balance between the neutral good bard and the lawful evil I think they're chaotic evil now. Paladin. It's like, man.
Nice.
But it's a great party. They're fit for Thay. They're a great party.
I've never run anything in Thay or played anything in Thay. That would be an interesting. Yeah, that'd be an interesting spot to run a game. It's kind of one of the places I like the most in terms of Forgotten Realms, just because it's so nasty. Just a nasty place to be. Which means it's a great place to run campaigns.
That it is.
That's a cool idea, Jar Jar. There are some actual guard folks, including including an older half-elf that they saved earlier in the campaign. So there is potentially some there, some figures to add to an elite guard.
Yes. How much magic does the kind of standard guard troop in Arabelle tend to have?
Not very much, really.
Okay.
The captains often will have something that can detect magic, but that's really about it.
Not a whole lot of wizard guards out there.
No, most people that have any sort of magic are pretty quickly brought in and tested, and not quite conscripted, but there's no just free roaming wizards or clerics. They're all part of the institutions of Arabelle. If they're from Outland,
Just ganged into schools.
I mean, to some degree, yeah. The Arcanist Guild and the Temple are pretty serious about not having just sort of rogue elements. But that's not to say that nobody slips through, or that there's not people that are part of the guild but still have a lot of other shady dealings that they do on the sides, or did.
Because I definitely agree. Like, I would love to have an elite guard group going around, but the fact that there seems to be almost consistently kind of that element of a magical enemy popping up. It's like, how fast are they going to get just annihilated because they don't have any arcane or divine support, right?
Yeah.
So
they'd have to be set up pretty well in defensive position with tactics and maybe trap-like.
Yeah.
They'd have to have other tricks to use, but perhaps you all can craft some things that be useful by others, or potions, poisons, traps, or those of you who have spells could potentially create something like spell scrolls that could be given to other people. But yeah.
Yeah. Join us now. Magic fighters needed. If only we're Pathfinder and had Maguses.
I love the Magus or the Magus or however you say it. One of my favorite classes in Pathfinder.
It was Jar Jar suggested us getting some
I'll be
elite
back.
guards grouped up, and it's a good idea. I just feel like it's challenging because every time we've gone out, we've seemed to face some magical enemy, some magic component, and there's not a whole lot of guards with magical abilities to counteract any of that. But you could always make spell scrolls or find other ways.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, you can use spell scrolls without even. At a certain point, we'll have third level spells available. So get exciting, and we'll get cool magic items like this big stick. I don't know
This big stick.
Whoever's going to use the big stick, pretty awesome.
It's a great question. Because none of us are really I guess either you or Helena.
Maybe. I mean, it's kind of a
Primal-esque.
Is it one-handed or two?
I mean, it's a quarterstaff, so either.
Either. Huh. Could be interesting. It's not really his bag, but it could work.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's like, who would really wield this?
I mean, he's already got the mold earth and all that, so he is a little bit in the element.
Yeah.
So he's kind of like you could almost it kind of goes in line with like maybe the staff because he had it on him, like kind of helped.
Right. Still bound to the staff.
Yeah, there could be an element of that. He's bound by it by killing the guy who had it before.
Remember games that do that? You're like, you can't give this to another player because you can only the one who picked it up. And
Well, a lot of
used
video
it
games did that. Yeah, I remember that
Yeah.
was WoW did that, didn't they?
Yeah. Soulbound.
When I think of Soulbound, I think of Stormbringer. I imagine Elric, and one of the origins for that vampiric sword in was it in White Plume Mountain? I don't know if you ever played that old module, but they had basically the Stormbringer clone, which was everyone wanted to get that.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
I get life. I do damage, and I get life for every point of damage I do.
Moorcock is one of my favorite writers.
Oh, he's great.
Oh man,
I
love that stuff.
The incarnation, all the different, the Eternal Champion stuff, Corum.
Everything I've got my hands on, I've tried to read it.
Yeah.
He's so even reading it now, it's so fresh compared to a lot of stuff. I really liked his take on it.
I was young. So I haven't read it. I was maybe 12, I think. I haven't read it since. I should.
Yeah.
You know he has a band, right? Hawkwind.
Hawkwind, I've heard of. I haven't heard the band, but I've heard the name. Yeah, it's a good metal name.
Because they do songs about the books.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like, holy shit! Oh my god, this is about so and so.
If you've read Widely and a bunch of his stuff, he did a series later on, like the Skraling Tree, Weird of the White Wolf. There's a trilogy that he made, and it folds in every world and every character makes sort of a cameo in it. And it's some of his best writing too. It's
I might not have read that.
It's amazing.
Oh,
it's supposedly stuff that all happens while Elric is tied to the mast of the Chaos ship, in book 5 or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. There's this thing that his people did called the Dream of 1,000 Years, and they would be able to practice magic in their sleep, and they'd go into their dreams and they could dream for 1,000 years and learn all this stuff about magic and lore in a night's sleep. And so he goes and does some. It's awesome. It's really, really good. Yeah.
There needs to be a cinematic universe of all the Eternal Champions. That whole that'd be amazing. That needs to happen. I'd play that campaign. It'd be awesome.
Oh man, I
wouldn't want to be Elric. Sucks to be Elric.
No, it sucks to be any of the Eternal Champions, man. Their lot sucks.
Yeah, you'd be like a side person if you were an RPG. They would be always a main character, and terrible shit would happen to them. You just sort of be witnessing.
Just not the Eternal Companion either. He always dies. Every book, he dies. That sucks. That sucks.
Yeah.
Just one of the people that the Eternal Champion helps that lives. One of those groups. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think go ahead and step back into it as Siaba or Joe is stepping back in, but stepping back into it with Clifford. So a little bit of food, not incredibly good, but it's sustenance anyway. And some time with these guards. Some of them are starting to wake up. You're asked a lot of questions about, some of them you don't recognize, but they seem to be aware of who you are. One of them asks, the halfling actually. So you're that bounty hunter. It's, Clifford.
Yes, pleased to meet you.
Yeah, it's good to meet you here. It's good to see anyone who survived, and especially someone who's got as many stories on them about their exploits as you do. You've bagged some hardened criminals. It's
Well, criminals aren't always so hard, you know. I know many soft criminals, and they're just fine.
That's funny.
There was one of those little rascals got away, and he's thinking of his companions, the ones that helped him, Tar and everybody, and how helpful they were. You know.
Yeah.
He might throw in some props for them. But there was the one guy who bailed on us. I forget his name now.
Palin.
Yeah, Palin. It's like, you know anything about that Palin? Sound familiar?
Palin Highheart?
Yeah. What do you know about him?
Well, not over much. He's a distant cousin. Kind of snobby for my liking. Only drinks aged wine and fine, very smelly cheeses.
Well-to-do, fancy fella.
Puts on airs, if you ask me and the rest of my family. Yeah, we see him at big dinners and, birthday parties and such. But he's not around, hasn't been around much, at least before the Stonefall. I haven't seen him since. Mostly...
Between you and me, I don't trust him. Shady. Something's going on, and you don't know how this corruption starts. You know, the corruption's in the goblins, and their eyes turn yellow, right? You've seen it. You've seen when they get all crazy. Well, what if that starts happening to us? It starts happening to our own people.
I don't want to think about that.
More. Yeah, you think about it. You think about it all, and you dream about it. You have nightmares like I do, and you'll understand.
As you say, sir, I probably will now.
Clifford has a low charisma, so he's not very mindful of whether he's terrifying.
Right, yeah.
He's insightful, though, maybe. You know, he might be insightful enough to know if he's, like, losing his mind. Like, maybe he needs to chill. I don't know. He's pretty in a pretty dark place.
If you say you don't trust my cousin, well, I imagine you've got a nose for things like this. So you're probably right.
Yeah. We were all fighting, and they just disappeared. Everyone else helped. I don't know where they went, what they were doing.
Ran off on you at the docks?
Yeah, something like that. Now, I don't know what's happened to him. I don't know what happened to my friends. I have no idea if any of them are alive. So, I'm not really a great source of information. Does anyone have any scouting? Does anyone know what the hell's going on with them?
Will do soon, says Deg. Sent some out at daybreak. They're running the wall. Should know something soon.
All right, well, kick me. You're right, you kicked me. I'm gonna take a nap just for a little bit. Don't let me sleep too long, all right?
Well, some indeterminate time later,
Yes.
the halfling rouses you. Clifford, sorry to wake you up. The scouts are back. We've seen some interesting stuff, it seems like. Yeah, you awake, says Dig.
Cliff stands up, ready to go. Yeah, what?
Well, we one of the scouts saw a wagon trundling off up the hill from the docks. Saw all the buildings burning. Couldn't see too much from a distance through all the smoke, but it seemed like a bunch of the townsfolk grabbed a wagon. They're trundling along. They moved toward Mistfield Gate. Or no, yeah. They moved toward Middlegate.
Well, I say we give them a welcome, huh? Make sure they're safe. Give them a clear shot. Yeah?
I can send a couple of scouts with you, but the rest are gonna have to stay here.
That's fine. I'll take whoever I can get. Who's coming with me? Let me look at the others.
The halfling steps forward.
All right. This is going to be fun.
And yeah, there's another very, very young-looking human. They know the walls. They know the dangerous spots. They'll run with you, and they report back what they see to me.
That's perfect. All right. Well, got any other stuff? You got potions, scrolls to help these? I mean, half of them could all be dying for all I know.
Not much we can spare. Give you some rations.
Well, that'll help with the rats. They'll love it.
Yeah, he gives you a small sack of hardtack and harder cheese.
All right. Yeah, we'll head out. We're going to see what we can do to get that gate open. I don't know if we know how well it's guarded at that gate, but I'm hoping it's feasible to reach it and kind of connect, or at least reach the cart, reach the wagon, midway or something.
Well, you can take the ground if you want. You can also go up through the hatch and get on the walls and make your way that way. Now, mind you, there's a lot of places you can be seen, but the wall's 10 feet wide. If you lay low enough, you should be able to drop out of sight of any goblin arrows.
Oh, yeah. We'll take the wall, then. I like it. Well, knock over anyone who gets in our way, right? We can take them. Just play it cool, right?
As you say. Like I said, once they've seen you to it, they'll report back. And
right.
May the Danon walk with you.
All right. What should I do with this goddamn stick? And he's still not sure. I don't know if he's attuned to it or anything, but...
No, and when you... if you sort of touch it and look at it, you get a very ugly feeling. It's sort of a combination of sort of bubbling hatred and rising despair if you try to attune to it.
Can I bury it? I want to find a spot where no one's looking, like not even any of the guards, and bury it behind the wall in a hidden spot, maybe in a garden somewhere, 5 feet underground.
Well, if you're going up the wall, then there's not going to be anywhere to bury it. But if you're going overland, like over the ground, then you could probably find spots. Although you'll have to distract them so they don't see you bury it.
Yeah. I was thinking of more like if I could go ahead. Unless there's someone I can trust with it. I mean, I feel like I got it this far. I don't want to turn it into danger, but I don't want to use it. I don't think it's safe. So is there someone who can hide it?
No one more capable than you, really. If you are you asking Deg?
Yeah. I'm like, Deg, can you hold on to this?
You sure you want me to do that?
It's dark. It's not safe. But
well, it's daylight, actually.
Yeah. No, I mean what's inside that thing. That thing inside, it's dark. It's evil. It's twisted.
That's the staff of the Danon you're speaking of.
No, it's not. God damn it. No, it's not. It's twisted, all right? I can tell. Look, I'm going to hold on to it, all right? I'm supposed to have it for some goddamn reason. All right, let's go.
It's full of... Yeah, okay. He starts to, be like, if you're going to trying to pawn this off on me and it's full of evil. No, you take it with you.
I'm going to hold the staff. I'm going to have that. I'm going to offer the rapier that I have, the magic rapier, to one of the two. Probably the tougher of them. I don't know if they'd use a rapier.
Yeah, the halfling Nadar, All right, I'll take it, but I'll return it to you when we part company. It's too nice.
It's pretty sweet. Just go for the eyes, all right? And yeah, I hand it to him, and he can use it while I try the staff. I assume I could bonk people with it too. I'm
Sure.
not sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a quarter. It would function like a quarter staff.
Is it Dex? He's a Dex guy, so it won't be effective if he's. Is it Dex based? One hand.
Quarter staff. I'm not sure. I don't think it is. It should be though.
Kind of up to you. Yeah.
Perhaps someone else can open that up and look that up for me real quick.
I'll add it as an item, but
Okay. So at the moment it'll just function like a quarter staff. They show you the ladder up to the second floor. There's another ladder built into the stone wall that leads up to a hatch. And as you move up toward it, you open it. Daylight floods in. As it's about 7 in the morning now. And you slip out onto the wall.
all right.
Smoke is still rising from the docks as you begin making your way toward Middlegate.
Very stealthy.
So, both the disheveled and sort of battered-looking guards, though they've rested, they haven't been able to change clothes, are slipping along, but they're pretty noisy. Their chainmails clattering about. The best they can do is sort of keep out of sight, keep really low, but you have your eye out on certain areas that you're passing through.
Yeah, and I'll take point. Cliff will take point if he needs to. Ahead of the loud guy.
Okay. Well, go ahead and make a stealth check as you're, sort of looking around, looking on the ground on both sides of the wall as you all lope along.
Yeah.
And anytime you suspect you're around goblins, you'll kind of lay low and slink along, maybe even sometimes crawling on all fours up on the top of the wall. But soon you can hear the creaking of the wagon and the hushed murmur of some townsfolk. You get a view on it from maybe 300 feet away. There's almost 40 townsfolk. About 8 of them, they look like laborers of some sort, have put on chainmail shirts. They have heavy shields and crossbows. And they're just sort of standing around the wagon guarding the other townsfolk. They have their shields kind of set to the ground. They're crouched behind them. And as many like children and people are like underneath the wagon, sort of hiding in case anything pops out. Make a perception check for Clifford. 10 stealth.
Not bad.
You spot creeping down a nearby alley a group of 4 goblins and a single hobgoblin who are they're sort of huddled together. The hobgoblin is speaking very low to them and he's pointing the direction of the wagons. He speaks you can't really hear what he's saying. He's speaking really low. But 3 of the goblins scamper off and dive into the shadows and begin creeping along like they're moving toward the wagon. Leaving 2 goblins and a hobgoblin behind.
Is there a way to follow the ones that are going towards the wagon and sneaking up behind him without the other ones seeing?
Well, you're on the wall, so none of them have seen you. They're all looking a different direction.
Yeah.
So you can continue to move along.
Yeah, we want to tail the ones that are going towards the wagon and see if we can, get behind them, maybe take them out.
Yeah.
And I'm excited about the wagon. I mean, someone survived.
True enough.
So I'll let them know. Look, we got friends in that wagon, so we got to protect it. And I'll make a signal. I'll be pretty quiet, and I'll signal that there's some goblins going that way, and we'll try to tail them.
The 2 guards look incredibly nervous, exposed out on this wall. But to their credit, they both just sort of set their jaws and nod, and begin to move along behind you. Not incredibly stealthy, but far enough behind the goblins that they don't look past. A building as you're traveling along, a building comes between you and where the hobgoblin and the other goblins are standing.
Perfect. So we can kind of use that for cover as we chase down the ones that are heading towards the wagon.
One of the goblins disappears off in a hiding spot, but the other one you can see he's hiding behind a set of broken barrels, and it just looks like they're in position to watch.
All right.
Should we shoot that
I
one?
think I'm gonna-
Says Nadar.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say. See, let me see if I can sneak up on him, and then back me up. All right, you guys stay hidden. You just fire at him, and I'll take the risk, and I'll see if maybe I can sneak up on that guy. With the one who's hiding behind the barrels. Maybe I can drop down on him.
So the wall itself is, almost
10 feet?
40 feet high. It's just like
okay.
the city wall.
40 feet. Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just dropping straight down is probably not going to work. But there's another rooftop you could jump over to with an athletics check and maintain your footing.
Okay.
And then make your way down
Yeah.
to the ground from there.
That's the idea. I'll say, way up here where they're safe, I think, while I'll go down, try to get down to the rooftop.
Okay.
And I'll have them be like backup, and they can fire at anyone who comes on out, and they can shoot. Yeah, that sounds good. So athletics. Yeah, not great on the athletics.
All right. So as you leap over, you land pretty heavily, like kind of flattening your face and chest, and you kind of slide down, and you take a tumble. You had already dropped down about 5 feet, so real no damage there. But you're on the steep slate tiled roof. You begin to slip and you fall the 2 stories down. You take a little bit of bludgeoning damage doing that.
Ow. God damn it. Like that. See how it's done? Did I get a long rest or
No, you had another short rest in there.
short rest there? Okay, cool.
You'll take 6 points of bludgeoning damage from that fall. And
All right.
your stealth, such as it was, is broken. You hear the goblin who's just around the corner. You hear him, or you hear them. Who's that? The goblin shouts. Or says in a fierce whisper.
He'll say something like, I'm hurt in Goblin. He'll essentially say, ah! And he's still, I guess, I don't know how covered in mud he is, but he'll just sound like he's in too much pain to respond at this point.
All right, make a deception check.
I was going to say, that sounds like deception. Very much his forte. He does have a -1, so that's a 9.
Liar's tongue, I'll cut it out! And you hear the goblin's feet begin to move as it leaves its hiding place and begins coming up toward the corner around which you are picking yourself up off the ground.
Very annoying. Oh, how much damage did you take?
You took 6.
6, all right. Thanks.
So the goblin is coming. It'll be around the corner any second. What does Clifford do?
I think I'm gonna fire at it. Pull out the pistol and take a shot at it.
All right. So you just wait for it to round the corner and take a shot?
Yeah. I mean, they already heard me.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of drawing attention away. Oh, God, that'll be so loud, though. Can I change that? I think I'm just use the short sword and try to, like, as he comes around the corner, give him just stab him.
Okay. Yes, you kind of
Is that
slip up
on
to
my
the corner.
action? I can do that. Yeah, and I'll do booming blade on him too while I'm at it.
Okay.
So, when he comes around the corner, I'm gonna take him out with the booming blade with just this regular short sword. I left the rapier with the other guy.
Right. Okay. All right, so you basically charge up toward the corner as the goblin charges up as well. It seems
Yeah.
to hear you charging up, and it does not round the corner. Sneaky, sneaky!
I'll just go right at him and take him out. I'll keep coming at him.
Okay, as you round the corner, he fires with his light crossbow.
All right.
And then you can move forward and close the distance and make that attack. Ooh,
Awesome.
a natural 1 on that.
Oh no.
So go ahead and roll a d6.
Oh, okay.
There's a mishap.
3.
All right, let's see here.
Mr. Hap to you. Cool.
The creaking frame of the crossbow gives way as you round the corner, and the goblin fires at you. Instead of the bolt doesn't go anywhere. Instead, the bow itself sort of snaps from the pressure.
Oh,
The
nice.
goblin drops it really quickly. Doesn't take any damage from it, but he begins to pull out his scimitar. But you move forward and make that attack roll.
Yeah, and I think I made a mistake. I don't know if that's. I don't think I have advantage, right? I just regular.
So we'll just look at the roll on the left anytime there's a double roll. There's
And
not.
then-
So that 7's gonna miss.
Yeah, I think that's gonna miss. And then he will. Yeah, that's all I can do at this point. Does he see anything else as he's rounded the corner?
Let's see, just double checking. That's a nat 1 on that short sword attack, I believe, right? 1 plus 6.
Is it? I can't see it.
Looks like it to me. So you need to roll a d6 for yourself on the mishap.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Wow, this is a great moment. This is Keystone Cops right here. 4
All right, let's see here.
with the short sword. And I don't have an inspiration anymore, right?
That's correct. So let's see here. You catch your toe on a cobblestone that's sort of stuck out, and you hit the ground.
Damn it! Ow!
The goblin draws his scimitar and charges up at you. He slashes with the scimitar as you're trying to pull yourself back to your feet. With a 17 to hit.
And I don't have a disadvantage. I have a 19 AC
Okay.
right now.
Awesome. So that misses. As
Yeah.
the goblin's drawing out a dagger with his offhand. Makes a second attack as you're up already on your feet. But again, another 17 is going to miss.
Oh, and then my buddies maybe can shoot at him. I don't know if they can see him.
Okay.
Right.
Make a d20 for each one. I'll go ahead and add their bonuses. So you can roll those
All
2
right.
d20s.
All right, let me do it. See if it works this way. I'm doing it through Beyond.
The goblin also begins shouting for the other goblins, calling a lot of attention to itself.
Yes, I'm not happy about that. I tried doing the D20 before, and I had to just do it as those. An 8 and 11. Or no, is it a? Yeah, they rolled terrible.
Go with the first two, so a 12 and an 8. One of those is going to
Yeah.
hit, so you can roll a d8
Okay.
plus 1 for one of those attacks.
All right. Very exciting. I'm typing it all in. So 4 damage from one of their attacks.
Okay.
Back to me.
They manage to wing one of them. You hear a thumping of heavier footsteps. One of the hobgoblins, maybe 60 feet away, it's about to come up to another corner behind you. But you have time. So, Cliff, you know you're drawing the attention of those who are sneaking up on the wagon itself. As you look ahead, you're now around the corner. There's the goblin in front of you. As you're picking yourself back up, you can see the wagon. You don't see any of your allies, but they seem pretty well defended and have gotten themselves this far.
Good. Well, I'll make a good distraction then. I think Cliff's going to try to continue to harry them as much as he can and make their life difficult. If he can attack now, he will.
All right, so if you stay and attack, that hobgoblin will be around the corner and will be ready to attack. And you know that they do extra damage. You know they hit hard. They take advantage of those. They have martial advantage. So they really, any gaps or openings opened by their allies, they'll take strong advantage of that.
Could I hit the guy who's on me right now and then run after that and get enough distance from the hobgoblin?
Perhaps.
If
but
I risk a op.
You will definitely be in another chase if you do that.
Yes. And what's my other option? I mean, just run? I mean, I gotta...
Yeah, cut and run. get an opportunity attack from a scimitar and skedaddle?
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I take. Maybe I'll get lucky and I'll take him out. I'm gonna go ahead and go for the go for the attack, and risk it. Yeah, I'll go with the short sword boom again.
Okay.
Hopefully, I'll roll decent for once. What did I get? 14.
A 14 is going to hit.
All right. So that's 5 damage, and then the boom will do a little bit. The booming blade just.
Well, actually, that is enough for you to describe or pass as you dispatch
Ah,
one of the sneaking goblins.
Nice. I would just say he sort of explodes. Just the blade cuts through him, and he sort of just bursts like a balloon.
Oh, nasty.
And then, like he pops. He just goes pop.
Right.
And then I'll try to run for cover. I don't know if I can get around a corner somewhere, and get some distance from the hobgoblin.
Okay.
While my friends shoot at him from above. I might be able to get now if I wanted to go toward the wagon. If that's towards the goblins and stuff, or is that?
No, most of the goblins are behind you. There's one other in hiding somewhere nearby.
All right.
But the hobgoblin and the other two are back behind you.
So if I go towards the wagon, can I get around a corner and get cover somewhere?
Yeah.
As I'm running?
Yeah.
All right. I'll just full move whatever I have left, my 30, and then I'll find a corner, and hopefully I won't run into him.
Okay.
And he's got dark vision. Well, it's daytime now, right? Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. So there's an advantage there. But he'll keep his eye out for the sneaky one.
Okay. So you dart down the street toward the wagon and the townsfolk.
Yeah.
They see you coming. There's shouts of alarm and excitement, some fear, as you're covered in. You're a pretty fell-looking entity at this point. You're covered in mud and blood. Your face is contorted in fear and concentration. And as you've described yourself, you're pretty feral at the moment.
Yes. He's probably chill now. He's a little more chill after he's had some rest.
Okay.
He's not as bad as he was.
So what do you say as 4 crossbows are raised in your direction as you come charging up?
I say, it's me, Cliff. God damn it! And then he'll do a move earth, and he'll take all the mud off his body, and it'll just fly. It'll just splash off of him until he's completely mud free, and his mustache is just curled perfectly.
All right, so you kind of you're running forward. You have to pause for a moment and summon your magic to draw the dirt off of you, and there's a sharp word from one of the sort of more thicker spoken, "Oi, behind him!" And these 4 crossbows, they fire over your head, right into the oncoming hobgoblin who's charging up behind, or not charging up, but came around the corner, was taking aim. He manages to fire at you.
I do have one trick left if it works. If I don't,
The bolt whistles over your head in one direction, and 4 more whistle in the other direction as they arc toward him. He deflects 2 of them with his shield. One hits him in the shoulder. You don't know the gender of this hobgoblin. They haven't spoken, or you're not really close enough to see, just kind of behind their shield, that heavy chainmail. The other one takes him in the face. The hobgoblin pitches back.
Oh.
And you suddenly hear the retreating footsteps of goblins. As those others, once the hobgoblin falls and they see all of these crossbows aimed in their direction, even though these aren't the steadiest hands, a couple of lucky shots, perhaps. And
Cliff looks at them and he gives him a smile. He's like, "Nice. That was very well, excellent marksmanship. I'm impressed." And wow, where's everybody else?
"Oi, it went to Middlegate," says one of the laborers, come guardsman. "Quick, you might catch 'em. They said they'd be back, though, pretty quick. They've been gone maybe 5-10 minutes."
Yeah. Well, who's left? Did anyone Did anyone survive?
Don't know who you started with, but 4 went that way.
Okay, the big guy.
2 men, 2 women.
Oh, and they went off. Oh,
Aye,
must
they
be
did.
them, too. All right, come on, guys. I don't know if the other 2 have joined me or if they've been able to catch up.
They're up on the wall, sort of a little
Yeah.
ways behind you. They weren't able to bring their bows in at the hobgoblin from his position and angle once he got off out of the intersection onto the street. But so they're sort of loping along.
So I don't know if they want to go back and make sure that they got to protect the gates and they have responsibilities there. So if it's clear, I would send them back if they think they'll be safe. Go back along the wall and get themselves home. Back where I found
Just to
them.
clarify,
Yeah.
Cliff, where you found yourself wasn't actually the market square.
No, it was a wall. It was like the eastern wall, right?
Yeah, there's another gate.
Yeah, it's another gate. And so I'm trying to do some detective work and find out where you all went at this point. So now I know
Well,
where you are.
soon, the Lokag is shouting, and you hear the sound. You hear, well, actually, more see. You see a blazing white light through one of the arrow slits of the next of Middlegate. That be them, as you hear Lokag roaring, and you hear wood breaking. You hear 2 reedy goblin voices calling out in rough common. You can't really hear what's being said, but you think you found them.
Great. He'll chase after him then. He's gonna take this go as fast as he can. I'm sure it'll take a while, but he'll try to catch up.
Okay. So meanwhile, back at the tower with Ponpon, Lokag, Millie, and X, as you all finished taking out taking out most of the goblins in here, taking captive 2 of them. Oh, I missed a request for an update. Sorry about that, Darth Tradi. But yeah, so currently at Middlegate, Millie, X, Helena, and Lokag have dispatched. There were 7 goblins inside one of the towers flanking the gate. They've killed 4 and taken captive 2 of them. Quickly sort of going over everything, you find food that they've looted from nearby, like dried fish, some decent cheese, some bottles of ale. Of course, they've broken into some of it, and you find what you think is a healing potion. It's a glass flask. It's smeared in mud and dirt and grime, and one of these goblins has been carrying it around. But you find another healing potion. So, let's see here. What are you all going to do with this goblin prisoners that you have?
Well, we're not gonna stab him, I guess.
No, it'd be good to interrogate these 2, see where these other artifacts might be. My suggestion would be to take them out of here and maybe not directly into the square, but nearby.
If only Mustache Man had not died chasing that stick. Oh, what I wouldn't give to see him again.
Yes. Still don't quite understand why he ran off like that.
Does X have anything to add?
No, I will just silently scowl.
So do you guys go to question the goblins here, or you mentioned wanting to take them someplace else?
mean, we could question him here, but I'm thinking get the people back to town first.
Yes, I agree. People back to the square.
All right. There's not a whole lot of use. You find 47 gold, and mostly in silver, the goblins looted. Of course, you can replenish any arrows that you need, and if you have need of daggers or chipped, notched short swords. One of them has a long sword they stole from probably one of the town guard killed. It's nothing special, but it's serviceable. And so with trussed up goblins, you take them, either drop them down or Lokag carries them down the ladder, and you all make your way over toward the wagon.
I assume they're dropped unceremoniously.
Well, as you all sort of regather them and prod them ahead of you, likely on a short length of rope, you make your way back the 3 blocks away. Decent, walk on foot. You can hear, though, some sort of commotion coming from the wagon. And a familiar voice. It's the voice of Clifford. Asking after you all. Asking, debating, perhaps, with one of the other townsfolk, with one of the guards, about how you all are faring and what exactly you all are doing. Before you can slip off after them.
Look, it's a ghost.
Oh my gosh. Mustache man. And he's going to run and try and hug Cliff.
He will happily hug you, and he's very relieved too. He's so happy that you're alive. He looks for X. And to see if X unless he's hiding, he's just going to assume.
No,
pretty
X
sneaky.
X is not. Not anymore.
He goes over to X and gives him a big hug and then said, "Oh, I'm so glad you're alive. I thought you were dead. I thought you were all dead."
Can I see the staff?
Oh yeah, I don't know what the hell to do with this thing. Here, he shows you the staff.
I'll take a look at the staff.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. It made walls and whirlwinds. And something about Agma. The guy, he told me about Agma, the staff. But it's tainted. It's dark. It's not good. There's something in there. You gotta stick it in that light. You gotta throw it in the fires. I guess.
Who did you tell about the staff to?
Oh, I don't know. I talked to one of the little guys, and he said his cousin knew the one that tricked us, the one that bailed on us when we were trying to have that fight and just ran off. We thought he was our friend, but we knew he was kind of sketchy, right? Well, I guess they're second cousins, and I told him to watch out for him. Yeah, they know I got the staff. He knows I have the staff. But he seemed good about it. He helped me. He shot that guy. It was a nice shot, too, by the way.
I think you need food and rest.
Cliff,
None of that made sense at all.
Oh, I got food. Here, I brought some supplies, and he'll bring, whatever supplies he... I'm just so glad you're all alive. Look, and he'll just look adoringly, because he feels a responsibility for y'all. It's his job to make sure you don't die. So if one of you dies, that's it really looks bad on his resume. It's just not good for his portfolio, because he's not just a body, he's a bodyguard too. He's not just a bounty hunter. So I'm really glad you're all alive.
So Helena, perhaps
Mostly,
sorry, go ahead.
I'm mostly afraid you were dead, having not been able to find you.
I thought I was. I thought I was going to bleed out there. You wouldn't believe it. I had to hole up for like an hour in one of these burned out buildings. But I did some digging and I figured out how to get through this.
So Helena probably bringing up the rear, maybe looking for more rattlings or more valuables or things of use. You're kind of the last to see Clifford, who's just finished hugging X and handed over the staff to X. How does Helena react to seeing Clifford again?
Angrily.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, what are you doing going off dying on me and then coming back like you're not dead? It's very upsetting, you know? And she just comes over and like hugs him.
Yeah. Yeah, I would have died. I would have been dead. And you saved X. I thought he was gone. You must have saved him. Just as I was leaving, I saw your little rats. I saw what they were doing. I saw them coming when I ran, and I knew you had this under control. Oh my God, I'm so glad he's alive. I'm glad you're alive.
So
yeah. No, it's good. It's good.
So as Helena, as you approach, at least once you get close enough to the wagons, kind of through the guards that you all have posted, breaking away from her mother, little Bevy comes running up. You made it back! You made it back! And you found Clifford! You brought him back! You brought the old man!
Well, of course. Of course. What else?
She shrugs. Her mom kind of takes her in hand. And the matron, Evra. Well, I see you're all back then. Is it safe? We dispatched some goblins. You can see by the muck on Lokag's hammer. Is it safe then? Shall we continue?
It is safe beyond this point. X and Helena should probably keep up their scouting until we get to the square. We also have 2 goblins to attempt to get some information out of. I'll look at Cliff.
Oh, they want to have a conversation, huh? All right.
I don't know if they want to. But I figured perhaps one of them can inform us a little bit about where the artifacts are.
If
Within
there's a
the
way to,
stone.
are they blindfolded or held somewhere else? Are they all in a wagon somewhere?
Oh no, you see them. They're tied up, arms behind them.
I assume they're just like held under Lokag's arms.
Perhaps.
Nice.
Are these goblins or hobgoblins?
They're goblins.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll
Lokag's just carrying them like sacks.
Well, I wouldn't want them to see that we had one of the artifacts, the staff, so I would trust X to take care of that, keep it hidden. That's the staff. Look, this staff, we got to do something with it. It's a beacon. It's a beacon of darkness, and they're gonna want it. I spent the whole time running. There were so many of them. They were everywhere. They were up on the walls, and they were. And they all kept screaming how they wanted this staff. It matters a lot. It means a lot to them. I don't know why. I guess I know why, because this is supposed to be something righteous and good and pure. It's not supposed to be like this, right? This isn't right. And he looks at X.
So X, you do get a strange sense. You've handled this before. You've been close enough to it. You've polished it and cleaned it and used it in rituals. But touching it now, it's like full of pain and anger. It seems to almost have a thin film over it. You can sense the artifact beneath, but something is covering it up.
Whatever that is, I think maybe it will burn away in the flame. So that's X's idea. Go
Yeah.
douse this thing in the flame and see if we can purify it.
That's where we go next. After we get back to town.
We have the flame in town, right? It's the little that we gave to what the smithy son.
Yeah.
Right. Smithson. Old Mr. Smithson.
Was he's young Mr. Smithson now?
Indeed.
Master Smithson.
So as Evra catches sight of the two goblins underneath Lokag's arms. You left some alive. What are you doing with them? You're not bringing them back to the square, are you?
No,
Hold on
we're
to your
bringing them close to the
pantaloons,
square.
lady.
Exactly.
I beg
We
your
have
pardon.
questions. They may have answers. If they don't, we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
And I have questions. And he'll start to menacingly move towards the upside down hobgoblins.
I don't know anything about military matters. But I would say it's not safe to bring them into the square. They
Yes, we
shouldn't.
don't intend to bring them into the square.
Well, very good. She apparently has nothing else to say about the matter. The rest of the townsfolk are, sort of looking nervously about. Some of them creeping back out from underneath the wagons where they're mostly hidden themselves. And grabbing the carts and such and getting ready to move. That is, if you all, seem ready to move. It's certainly safe to pass through the gates into the inner city. And between Millie and Helena, you've picked out a route you think should avoid. It's pretty open and lower buildings, so harder for things to hide behind. You should be able to kind of see most things coming.
And I assume we're heading back to the square with haste.
Let's go. I'll drop the goblins off with someone and go hitch myself back up to the wagon.
Imagine you drop them off with Clifford, who begins to menace them as you all are
Yes.
traveling.
Yes, I will menace them before we dump them off. And suggest that they warn us if there's any ambushes ahead. Make sure they're in front of me the whole time, so they wouldn't want to get hit by any stray arrows from one of your ambushes now, would you? I'm just kind of giving advice, like just, hey, you don't want to get shot now, so you should tell us, should we go this way or that way? I'll try to be friendly with them for the most part. And then he'll say, like, are they weird, creepy, like, possessed hobgoblins?
Well, they still have that distinct sort of scent to them.
Yeah. So they're still kind of feral. But we know that if we put them in the flames, that it cures them, and they're not awful.
Do you know that?
But
Or do you just
I thought we
suspect
did that. We did that with the little goblin, and then he was like, nice. Remember? I think maybe he was lying.
I think he was a
thinks
regular,
that.
a non-corrupted one.
Yeah. No, I guess it's just a theory. He's just gonna see what he can get out of him by just chumming up to him and say, "You're gonna die soon anyway." Any last words? Just like being like a pastor might be when you're about to be going to the gallows. Just a little like, you want to have any last meals? I've got a nice snack here for you.
All right. Well, I'd say that's
Die.
either a persuasion check or an intimidation check. Take your pick.
Okay. I'll take. They're both terrible, unless I can use like a different ability, but that's not really his forte. A 4.
You might also solicit the help of one of your allies who is more persuasive and/or intimidating.
If they can speak, they can't speak Goblin, but if they can give me some tips, that might be helpful. But my first volley is...
So someone else could help with an intimidation, but not persuasion, because it's easier to intimidate someone without words. So if anybody wanted to offer to help Clifford try to get information out of the goblins.
I can provide guidance. Guidance.
I
Give
could,
guidance to Lokag. Lokag could just shake him around a little bit.
Yeah, if you call Lokag over, like,
Yeah, you're holding him,
Look,
right?
I
Yeah.
could, stop. He's like walking back over to the wagon, and then he picks up a hammer with the gobbler on it and walks back over. And he looks at the goblins, looks down at them, and just, I'm sorry, Mustache Man. Are you having a problem with our friends? Maybe they need to be reminded that we spared their lives.
Oh,
And
well,
he's gonna heft the
yeah.
hammer and bounce it in his hand.
Nice. Yeah, Cliff will let him know. Yeah, I was just telling him this is their last rites, where they're going to be dead soon, and if they had any last requests. But I think they just took it as an insult. I don't know. I don't completely understand Goblin culture. I majored in it though back when I was in school. I went to school, you know.
So look like you can make an intimidation check as part of that. Sorry to interrupt.
That's go ahead. Yeah, I have no Christmas.
25
25
with the hammer.
Excellent.
And with that, he's gonna look at the hammer and look at some of the gore, and he's just going to he's gonna kind of shake it off over the goblins. Just
And I can translate if you want to say anything. I can say whatever it is in Goblin for you.
he's gonna say, "No need. I think they get the point." And he's gonna lean down real close and smile at them, and just kind of keep the hammer ready.
They both begin trying to speak through the rope gagging their mouth. Each one sort of, a plaintive look sort of suddenly painting their face as they're attempting to tell you everything that they know. You can just kind of slip their bonds down. They're talking over each other, just a torrent of information.
One at a time. I'll pull one down first, so the other one's muffled a bit.
Goblins take many houses, try to take the tallest places so we can give watch. Ordered to take certain areas and be able to signal to each other using fire. We invade the city. We take your blood. It is added to the power of the stone and the great ritual that the masters conduct. We don't know everywhere they're hiding, but if you spare our lives and feed us, we will share everything that we know.
Why are you going to share it now? All the rest of you are all just loyal followers of this. I don't even know why the hell you're doing this. I mean, you could be out hunting. You could have a farm, with cows. Why are you doing this?
The goblin gives you a confused look, like they don't really know either. But your insight tells you that they're just currently more afraid of you than they are of their masters. And they don't have numbers on their side anymore.
Well, I let him know. He's your master now, and I point to Lokag. And that's probably enough, so we can hold on to him for a bit.
But yeah, all the way back, they're just sort of constantly trying to tell you things about what they see.
Warn us of ambushes.
Mm-hmm. They sort of, they'll start to talk and then clam up, and then one or the other will look at Lokag, who's up ahead, sort of, you'll just sort of point to him and his hammer, and they'll tell you more things. They show you kind of simple goblin glyphs that they'll scratch into stone or wood to show places that they're holed up. That's information you can pass to Helena and X, who, as you all are scouting, can go ahead and make... I'm assuming Helena slipped off to scout with X, or do you hang back with the wagons for any reason?
Sorry, my Discord was being silly.
That's okay.
I will move forward. I'm not gonna.
Okay. Well, go ahead and make a stealth and either survival or perception.
Okay.
And X, if you're helping scout, then stealth and either perception or investigation. Nice, 24 stealth check for X.
Oh. She's just too wired up. She's
Yeah.
too fired up, you know. You wanted a survival?
A survival or investigation, whichever. All right, survival. Awesome. So as the wagon sort of creaks and rumbles along the uneven cobblestones, and X and Helena sort of crisscrossing and slipping from shadow to shadow ahead. Helena, you spot lots of tracks, and you spot some of these goblin signs on buildings nearby. But X indicates that he doesn't hear any goblins in the buildings. But you do occasionally hear goblins fleeing, like in maybe one or two here and there. The sounds of their boots half a block away, and retreating. The sound of this creaking wagon and the massive group of people you have. Single and solo goblins, or even goblins in twos, as you've recently learned, are pretty cowardly and are not really interested in testing you all's strength and defenses. But you're not able to gain much more information about the goblins in the area. You're not sure if the buildings marked are ones they're currently staying in, and they're too few in number to attack you all, or if they're just asleep, or if they've been abandoned for better locations. And as the cart rumbles its way, Clifford occasionally getting information from some of the goblins, Locag not even straining to, once you reach sort of more even level ground, Locag's barely even sweating. And Millie, as you are near constantly having to respond to something that Everest says, or some question or some complaint she has, you soon see on the rooftops some of the wharf rats and some of the guards whose lives you saved. And so just ahead of you, a block and a half away now, is the market square. And soon you'll be back to a place of safety where you can rest and truly recover from your wounds. But, of course, likely Millie and whoever else wants to help will be finding places for these people to stay and jobs for them to do. Because there's lots that need to be done, and you all can't afford to have idle hands and whatever silliness would come of that. So as the market square, the guards sort of loom ahead of you, and some of the townsfolk word kind of passes that you're close to safety. You're close to the Mistfield Square. A bubble of excited and relieved conversation, sort of issues up from the townsfolk around you. And I think this might be a good spot to pause for the session. How does that sound to everybody? Was there anything that anybody wanted to say or take or bring up at the in character before we pause for the session?
No, I'm good.
Okay. All right. Well, I think this is a good spot to pause. Some of us are having some internet issues, it seems. All right. Let's see here. So finally, the party back together. And home, such as it is. There'll be some new opportunities, some new items waiting for you all ahead. And some new work to do with a bunch of people to bring in and help find a spot in the square and the town within the city that you all have essentially created by your actions. But with a lot of food, a lot of new materials, and heck, you've got some chickens and some cows. You all are really starting to, at least a village you've all started here with the people that you've saved, starting from the first day the stone fell. For without you all, this square would have been easily overrun. So let's check in and see how the session was for everybody. Pon, any thoughts on the session? Pros or cons, ups or downs? Any moments that you particularly liked or anything like that?
I really liked Cliff coming back. That was my personal favorite moment for Helena. Like, you know, like we were together in the last bit of chaos, and then we weren't, and Helena secretly was devastated. So, yeah, I liked the movement. I liked the movement of this particular one. There's a lot of good funny moments too.
Agreed.
Particularly with Locag.
Well, speaking of Locag,
Smashing goblins.
that's right. I didn't mean to cut you off. If you had more to say,
Oh,
please.
no, you're good. You're good.
Well, speaking of Locag, Big Bri, any thoughts for you on the session?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'm glad that we're back to the square and going to be kind of, well, you know, at least almost back in there, kicking things off and dealing with ramifications of actions, getting these people back. But I enjoyed the theater of the mind combat and being able to really go whenever I get a crit, I try and go above and beyond on death descriptions if I get the option. So
That's what I do it for. I'm glad you take that opportunity. Heck yeah. All right. Let's see. I'm not sure that Millie is still with us.
I think I'm back.
I can
Maybe.
definitely hear you.
All right.
Well, any thoughts
Like
for
you.
you, Joe, on the session?
No, it was enjoyable. Kind of the split party dynamic was kind of tense. Like, what's happening with Cliff? Will he make it back to us or have more chaos occur? And then yeah, just finding these goblins that for the likes of us seemed easy enough to take down was a good reprieve from the usual combats that we've been engaged in. And yeah, I think kind of interest in getting back to the town square and probably handing this noble woman to Baba Broom to put to work and make do something, Get this woman out of our hair.
Awesome. Well, how about Locator? Any thoughts on the session?
The staff is back in our possession.
That's right.
We killed 19,000 goblins and hobgoblins at the docks.
Indeed.
We saved some town folks, a bunch of supplies, some random animals. They had a feast for us before we left. We need to have a bigger feast for us this time around. That's all I'm saying.
Not a bad idea. There will be lots of cause to celebrate. There will likely be some people reunited with people that they know. Especially like among the dock workers, maybe some more wharf rats meeting each other. Heck yeah. And how about you, Clifford? Any thoughts for you on the session?
Well, there's going to be more wharf rats because all their parents are dead because they all blew up in the boat. I mean, do we get XP for that? Can we say they were enemies and then we get experience? No, I think that was so tragic that they was clearly like this heroic hero to see them go down with a ship like that was glorious and sad. Still with me. But this session was super fun. It was weird being out of. It was some great RP opportunities, to just be alone for a bit with you and the characters and what's going on and the panic and all that was a lot of fun. And falling down and just. I call it like the Jim Rockford effect, like the detective who's always getting his ass kicked, always hurting himself. Like it felt like the bumbling detective. So I enjoyed that a little, and I didn't die, which is great. So it was fun, and it was great to get back to everybody. That was a goal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, as you are almost to the square and not quite, but almost. Go ahead and just jot down your current hit points so that when you level your characters up, you can restore to your current hit points, because you are officially, though not technically, back to the square, and that is one of the milestones. Saving those at the docks, as many as you can, and returning to the square. So heck yeah, that's level 5 now, right?
Yeah, that's awesome.
All right. I look forward to seeing. We'll probably start out next session a little bit, and you all can just tell me what you all are leveling up as before we jump back into it. So heck yeah.
Heck
It's a lot of people getting extra attack.
Yeah.
Oh
exactly.
yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
a lot of.
And yeah, we'll be chatting, on Discord on what you're going to do with some of those items, especially the stuff you got from the ship captain and stuff like that. So, well, Mythlanders out there, thanks for tuning in and joining us this week. Looking forward to next week. You all take good care of yourselves. Get some rest. Drink water. Do something to exercise your imagination. Because the world is a wild place full of stories. But only one person can play your story, and that's you. So go out there and live your best, and we'll see you all next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Again, thanks for a fantastic session, everybody. And we'll see y'all next week.
All right.
Good night, Mythlanders.
Good night.
Good night.